Dragon Ball Lao Tzu is the god of destruction. Chapter 121-140. Chapter 121. The King of the Northern Realm's Unique Secret Tips. Underworld, the King of the Northern Realm. The originally small Jawang star was now bare, like a swarm of locusts sweeping across the fields and crops. A sin, the god of destruction is not pleasing to my eyes. Sending such a scourge. The two tentacles on the head of the King of the Northern Realm kept shaking, and his eyes stared fiercely at Sun Wukong, whose purple suit was smashed in the distance. Ha ha ha, Lord Realm King, I'm sorry, you are too young, I really can't use my hands and feet, and it will be ruined if I'm not careful. Hee hee. Don't be angry, why don't I go inside and look inside to see if I can find a few suits? Sun Wukong touched his head and looked at the King of the Northern Realm with an embarrassed expression. No, you still practice. However, seeing that you are training so hard, I'm embarrassed not to help you. A sly smile appeared on the face of the Northern Realm King, and he glanced at the gray-haired orangutan who kept shouting beside him, and continued, since you have destroyed all the high-rise buildings on Jawang, it is just enough to make the orangutan beside me. Babrus is on the field. As long as you catch Babrus's tail, you win. Be careful to remind you, oh, Babrus, but the monkey I picked up in the weird place. Magic monkey. What? Sun Wukong looked at the King of the Northern Realm with a puzzled look, and then at Babrus. You'll know when you try it, Babrus. It was only then that Sun Wukong discovered that the gray-haired orangutan kept shouting because the King of the Northern Realm pinched his tail with one hand, and the tail was bare with few hairs. Babrus snorted, glared at the King of the Northern Realm, then turned around and shook his butt at Sun Wukong. This dead orangutan deserves a hairless tail. No wonder the King of the Northern Realm grabbed his tail and didn't let it go. Sun Wukong spat lightly, slammed his feet on the ground, dodged behind Babrus, stretched out his arms and grabbed it. Boom! Sun Wukong grabbed the air with both hands, lost his balance and fell to the ground. Feeling inexplicably puzzled, he turned his head and saw that Babrus ran up to the big tree next to him at some point and made a face at him triumphantly. Come again. Sun Wukong quickly got up and caught up with Babrus. This time, he calmed down and did not reach out to grab it. Instead, he chased after Babrus a few meters behind and suddenly accelerated, rushing to the front of the orangutan. Whoa! The orangutan was startled, and his body was about to collide with Wukong, and disappeared with a sudden swoosh. Sun Wukong followed his breath and saw that the orangutan was panting on a tree. Hey, it turns out that this is the magic monkey. For a few days, on the Northern Realm King Star, from time to time, two figures, one person, one monkey, and two figures flashed past. Finally one day, Sun Wukong no longer ignored the orders of the King of the Northern Realm, took off his tattered purple suit, burst out with momentum, stared at Babrus, eager to try. Hee hee, this kid thinks that the suit I put on him is weight-bearing equipment, how can I know how he can see through my master's spells? Counting that I directly exerted 100 times the gravity on him, plus the gravity of Jawang is the Earth's 10 times the gravity of the Earth, he now bears 1,000 times the gravity of the Earth. Ha ha ha, let your kid destroy my house and mess with my suit. The King of the Northern Realm sneered in his heart. A cold light flashed through the sunglasses, and then he hummed suspiciously. He saw that Sun Wukong was getting faster and faster, and he almost hugged Babrus several times. Was chased by the former immediately. This kid is growing up so fast. I didn't expect that even with 1,000 times the gravity on his back, he can still be so agile, and his sensitivity to chi has also increased. The person chosen by the god of destruction is a bit scary. Boom. Sun Wukong pressed Babrus's head with one hand and pressed it firmly to the ground. The bald tail on the latter's buttocks kept moving, but it was still to no avail. Ha ha ha, Lord Realm King, I caught it. Sun Wukong squeezed the neck of the orangutan and said with a smile. You are amazing. Gurgly, come out. The King of the Northern Realm called out another grasshopper with silver wings, and continued, Monkey King, don't underestimate Gurgly. He is from my hometown. I caught him from a big tree in our hometown, but his two wings emit a light that makes people slow, so you have to be careful when you catch him. Quote. As soon as the words fell, the grasshopper flew high into the sky and shot a white light at Sun Wukong. Just as Sun Wukong wanted to jump up and dodge, he was hit. He saw his feet off the ground, as if he was in slow motion, and his muscles were loose. Both hands slowly fall back. PFF'd. The incoordination of Sun Wukong's strength and muscles made him almost fall, but fortunately he reacted quickly and stayed on the ground with one hand. Little one, it's yours. I'll come. Sun Wukong laughed, swooped at Gurgly, jumped into the air, and used his strength to avoid the slow light of the bug. After going back and forth a few times, Sun Wukong gradually got used to it. As soon as the light was released, he ducked. After a while, Sun Wukong snapped, his hands clasped together, and Gregory was clamped. Lord Realm King, I'll give it back to you. Sun Wukong lightly lifted the silver wings of Gurgly, and walked quickly and slowly to the front of the King of the Northern Realm. Very funny. The King of the Northern Realm took Gurgly, turned his back to Sun Wukong, put his hands behind his back, looked like a fairy, and said slowly. Sun Wukong, you are very good. You deserve to be the man who passed the test of the King of the Realm. Your physical abilities, speed, agility, and resistance, have been fully trained on my Realm King. Next, the King of the Realm can take me with peace of mind. The unique stunt has been taught to you. After finishing speaking, a beam of light from the two tentacles of the King of the Northern Realm hit Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong was moved by his whole body and felt relieved. He couldn't help but jumped up and flew to the sky above the clouds. A happy voice came leisurely. Wow. My whole body is so light now. Wow, where is this? Lord Realm King, hurry up and teach me your secrets. Suddenly, the King of the Northern Realm trembled all over, as if he was sensing something, and quickly stretched out his tentacles into the air. After a few seconds, his body shuddered, and he said to Sun Wukong. Hurry up. You're running out of time. Sun Wukong rubbed his head, looked suspiciously at the Northern Realm King, who was not quite right in front of him, and said, Lord Realm King, what's wrong? Did something happen to Earth? Don't talk nonsense. You have 1 month left, and a group of demons has come up from the Tech Star in the Eastern Galaxy. The spaceship has already headed towards the Earth, and there seem to be 2 Saiyans on board. Is it the Prince and Raditz? What are they both doing here? Sun Wukong, hurry up and release all your chi now. A beam of light suddenly rushed up from the Northern Realm King, stunned the Northern Realm King and the 2 pets around him. Chapter 122-Wiz's identity. Back in time a few days ago. Northern Galaxy. Techstar. The square was filled with the bloody smell of K-Kan's death. This smell reminded the Prince and Raditz of bad memories, and even as Saiyans, they almost vomited. This gas. That arrives so fast. The Prince frowned, feeling a familiar air, a little surprised at the speed of the approach. I saw that a burst of glare suddenly appeared in the square, and then the chairman of the Eastern Galaxy Company, Whis, came out carelessly. Hey, advanced technology is convenient. You see, the speed of quantum transmission is faster than the teleportation of the Dracians, so I don't understand why the boss is so stubborn, but since I can't convince him, then I'll come out and play by myself. The brown and tall Whis, still wearing an exquisite suit, walked slowly towards the 2 princes, glanced contemptuously at their tattered battle uniforms, and mocked. Looking at the tattered appearance of the 2 of you fighting madly, I can't help but miss the time when you were wearing martial arts uniforms and training and fighting every day on the core star. Hey, there is a Realm King who knows how to appreciate suits. I should be working in the Northern Galaxy now. I think if I didn't take my brother out of the core, I would be happy to take over his class. Raditz watched Whis immerse himself in his personal world. Bang, an energy ball was lost, and he scolded impatiently. Hey, I'm too lazy to care about your Realm King and chairman of the Northern Galaxy. Hee hee, since someone framed Lousy and threw Lousy and the prince into the Devil's Star, then Lousy will make him lose his wife and lose his army. A trace of coldness flashed in Raditz's eyes. The bloodline ancestralization of the demon race is indeed a good talent, otherwise I will send you to see your younger brother, and in return, give us your bloodline to supply us. Wiz listened for a while, then turned to laughing, then took out a pair of glasses and wore them, and continued, "Don't worry, let me introduce to you first, my glasses are imitating biology made by imitating the talent of the boss. The bloodline identifier, wait a minute." After speaking, a flash of fluorescence appeared in the glasses, beep, beep, and Wiz nodded to the two princes and said, "Hey, not bad, both of them have reached 90%, the short one has reached 95.42%, and the other has reached 90%. One also has 92.37%. It seems that my brother really brought you a lot of gifts, plus you left the demon star, and the bloodline concentration will only increase without the devouring of the demon star. Of course, it is estimated that it is still the same as the two of you. It is related to pure evil in his heart, otherwise there would not be such a rapid increase rate. You must know that there is no place in this universe that is more fragrant than the dark energy of the Devil Star. Sure enough, it is more suitable to be a demon than me and Gouda. Hey, thank you for helping us detect the data. I heard that you are also a Saku and have reached 100% bloodline concentration, which means that you will be killed here, and at least one of the two of us can immediately reach 100%. Hundreds of realizations of the Saku bloodline ancestralization, maybe both can be completed together. The prince snorted coldly when he heard Whis finished speaking. After tasting the sweetness of the demon bloodline that was originally despised, he became more and more interested in completing the bloodline ancestralization. After all, it is possible to store three at the same time. The bug of innate skills, such as having time still, blur and haste at the same time, then no one in the world can kill him, but I don't know if the god of destruction's skills can be stolen. The prince has seen very little at this time, and can only be limited to a few kinds of demon talents. Of course, it is more likely because the prince does not want to rely entirely on the demon blood to fight, but can save his life when needed. After encountering the god of destruction, the prince finds that there are many people who can crush him with white combat power, so he urgently needs life-saving skills. Thinking of this, the prince's heart was hot, and he already regarded Whis as something in his pocket, and a laser cannon shot at it. Boom! Missed! Whis jumped into the air, laughed, shook his head and looked at the prince. I just wanted Kekken to hold you back, so that I could make an alibi and come here to kill you. As a result, however, it's a letdown. I have seen the trump card that makes you so courageous. Hee, I even went to Kurgan to ask for a piece of body meat, which wasted a skill slot of mine, so the temporary storage should only be kept for an hour. But, killing you, that's enough. The prince couldn't stand Whiz's long-winded chatter, and another laser cannon shot into the air. He was waiting for Whiz to show his skills. If what Whiz said was true, then he and Raditz had already known about the fight with Kekken just now, and the trump card that time stood still would be exposed. After thinking about Kekken's inexplicable nodding in the air, the prince confirmed his guess about the exposure of his cards. But Raditz doesn't care, his mother's grinding and chirping, Lao Tzu's current combat power is more than 50 million, except for the so-called god of destruction, even the former boss, the emperor of the universe, can't beat himself. Thinking of this, Raditz rushed towards Whiz. Hey, 2-on-1. What should I do? It's a bit tricky. Then let's try the Bohemian demon blood that I just got. As soon as the words fell, Whiz's figure was in a trance, and 6 people exactly like Whiz suddenly popped out of his body. It seems that we can only separate 7 people from the current situation. Hurry up and have fun. Immediately, the 6 Whis were divided into 2 teams, and each rushed towards the prince and Raditz. In an instant, the situation reversed. The prince sneered in his heart, but it was just an afterimage fist, and this kind of child stuff dared to show a shame. A fist was swiped at one of them, only to see that the Whis clone did not disappear, but stretched out his hands and grabbed the fist that the prince had punched. Karma. The clone locked the prince's throat with a cross lock, and the other 2 were aimed at sending out energy waves. What a powerful force. The prince was locked tightly, unable to move. Bang bang bang. The prince was shot all over his body, and his momentum suddenly weakened. Raditz, who was fighting hard on the other side, roared, "Prince! What the hell are these guys? Such a powerful force. If they are the avatars of the brown guy, then how strong the guy's body should be. Like this there is absolutely no need for him to release his avatar." "Hey, aren't you stupid?" Whis stood at a high altitude watching the play with cold eyes, and said with a smile, "This is the horror of Boho's bloodline, being able to reproduce a clone that is exactly the same as the main body. Of course, also includes the power of the main body, but it's a pity only an hour." Asterisk. And LT, title and GT, through Dragon Ball, I am Beerus_text chapter 121-140.txt and LT, title and GT. Chapter 123. Beerus descends on the demon star. How to do. This guy's combat power should be a little weaker than himself and Raditz. But all of a sudden, 3 identical clones came, and it was a bit difficult to resist. And these clones are still flawless. The prince tried his best to resist the attacks of the 3 clones of Whis, while out of the corner of his eye glanced at Whiz's body in the sky. The fists are hard to beat the 6 legs. The prince slumped from left to right and gradually exhausted his energy. Bang bang bang. Accidentally, the prince was hit to the ground by several heavy punches. He collapsed and tilted his head, as did Raditz. So frustrating. The 2 Saiyans, with a combined combat power of 100 million, have no power to fight back. Humiliation. Hee. Whis, who was flying in the air, looked at the 2 tragic people below with a calm expression, and said with a smile, "Okay, the game is over, it's time to give you to my dead brother. Of course, if he doesn't the soul is scattered by the king of hell." What? My dignified Saiyan prince was killed by a group of clones. Damn Kakarot. Damn Earth. Damn Mystery Man. I want you all to die without a burial. Boom boom boom. The 3 Whis clones were about to smash the prince's body with a punch when suddenly thick flames erupted from the prince's body, and black smoke billowed, as if the evil black dragon opened its bloody mouth and kept swallowing. Suddenly, 6 clones, including the siege. Raditz's clones were all stagnant and lost their mobility. Ah ho! The prince's brows and eyes were tightly knitted, and he was in great pain. He let out an inexplicable roar, and the thick black flames on his body suddenly opened, and upon closer inspection, it seemed that there were countless large and small black air lines condensing towards the prince's body. At this time, countless demons on the entire technology star felt their bodies tighten. One of the demon members of the propaganda group who was being trained suddenly fell to the ground, and his body quickly dried up and evaporated, as if his blood had been sucked by a huge gravity. This feels like the suction on the ancestors has been magnified 10,000 times. The rest of the demons were horrified. They ran and even tried to escape from the planet, but they still couldn't get rid of the end of being sucked dry, and soon the whole army was wiped out. On the square, Whis looked at the disappearing clone. He felt that Kurgan might have died, because the temporarily stored skills would disappear when the original host died. Then, he looked at the prince who looked like a huge black magic flame armor in the arena tremblingly, and murmured, "What's going on?" The same question came from the god of destruction. At this time, he and Whis were visiting the Shinran star. When Whis heard the question from the god of destruction, he laughed. "People know that the Lord of God of Destruction will ask this question. You must know that as an angel, people are most sensitive to these dark energies of the universe, and they are still in the most holy core of the universe. On the planet. Well, which direction? Northern Milky Way, not far from Earth. What level? It shouldn't be the Demon King God, it's a little bit worse. In terms of the purity of dark energy, it's only a bit worse than the original Demon Boo. Of course, the amount is far from enough. If in the lower world, the dark energy of ordinary demons is affected by other interference cannot be clearly distinguished. On the core star, there is no interference factor, and the energy level can be clearly sensed. Oh, past, how long will it take? The equivalent of about 3 days on Earth. Then let's go. Hey, I still want to spend a few more days with the god of destruction on this beautiful planet. ... There was another person who felt the same energy. On the demon star, that short head rarely let out a dull roar. Damn whiz, how dare you put eyeliner by my side, and dare to disobey my orders. He actually brought out the ferocity of that Saiyan prince. The Saku bloodline is originally the direct bloodline of the descendants of Saiyans and witches, otherwise how could the bloodlines of those two Saiyans be much higher than other naturalized people? Damn whiz for messing up my plan. I have to go and turn on the controller, it's too late. ... Tech star. Countless demons have died. Only the surprised Wiz stared at the mad prince and muttered, how can this kid's ancestral gravitational field be so powerful? Moreover, it still activates itself when it is not fully ancestral. The prince was refreshed, his consciousness gradually turned back to his body, looking at the black flames that were as thick as splashing ink. His throat moved, and he said happily, is this the Saku bloodline ancestral transformation? Why didn't this happen in Gouda at the beginning? Things, or else. After the prince finished speaking, he felt the blood in his body tumbling, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. Drops of blood cells seemed to be constantly gnawing at the body to replenish energy, as if he had understood something, and continued, perhaps he has been fighting so hard that his blood activity is insufficient. Of course, it is more likely that this prince is destined to become the most powerful in the universe, whether it is a human or a devil. After he finished speaking, he raised his head and stared at Whis with cold eyes. After that, he jumped up and punched. Not good. This is the suppression of bloodlines. In the past, it only appeared in front of the boss. Now this kid. Whis panicked, blood all over his body reversed, and the skills that should have been exerted were suppressed. Bang bang bang. In the air, clumps of blood mist spewed out of Whis. Boom. Die. The prince stretched out his fingers, and a stream of pure energy condensed into a ball and shot out, blasting Whis into pieces. He floated to the ground and helped Raditz, who was seriously injured, on the ground. Suddenly, he frowned. At this time, he became more sensitive than before, and sensed a magical energy descending on the technology star. After a while, the young man who claimed to be the boss floated over and laughed. Sure enough, they are the purest evil race Saiyans in the universe. No wonder the ancient demons will cultivate your descendants of Saiyans and witches as inheritance seeds. Inspire the demons of other races. Unfortunately, the Saiyans have become extinct, and only you are left to survive. Quote. After speaking, he carefully looked at the prince covered in black flames and chuckled, for thousands of years, it has been rare for an evil Saiyan like you to activate the Saku bloodline on his own to complete the ancestral transformation. Fortunately, in time. Before he could finish speaking, he saw an inscription in Chinese characters on his forehead, while the prince next to him stretched out his hands at him, time stands still. It turned out that when the prince saw the boss coming alone, he had been waiting for the opportunity, waiting for the excited blood in his body to slowly calm down, otherwise he would repeat the old story of Gouda. As soon as the boss's voice fell, he immediately shot. The moment the prince made his move, the boss slid past the prince and flashed behind the prince. With a light touch of his finger, the prince couldn't move immediately, and then a ray of demonic energy passed down his finger. Chapter 124. Pure Dark Energy. The prince's entire body of magic flames suddenly swelled, and then instantly condensed and shrank, like a thin blanket wrapped around him. There seemed to be black flames flashing in the prince's eyes, and in the blink of an eye, the same mark as the boss appeared on his forehead. Okay, the controller is in effect. Fortunately, his ancestral activation state has not completely disappeared, otherwise it will take a lot of time to engrave the imprint, and the effect will not be as good as it is now. After the boss finished speaking, he sighed secretly, and then looked at Raditz lying on the ground with an evil smile on his face. 3 days later, the high-rise building with the subtitle, "Welcome to Techstar," flashed on Techstar. The young boss still looked handsome. He was lying on the leather sofa where Wiz had rested before, feeling the comfort of his body touching the soft material, and said with a smile. "Whiz, this idiot always says that I am as stubborn as the realm king and realm god in his place, and I don't know how to enjoy the use of human technology and civilization. How does he know that the technology of the planet where I used to be is 100 times more advanced than here? Moreover, he cares too much about foreign things such as technology and ignores the growth of his own strength, which leads to the tragic annihilation of the race. How could he, a quasi-realm king who was born in Shinrensheng, have experienced it?" When the boss on the sofa said this, he gritted his teeth, and his body suddenly turned into a weird appearance of a thin head. He recalled the situation of sending the two Saiyans and the transferred demon to Earth yesterday, and the corners of his mouth twitched. The two Saiyans, finally controlled by the controller, became two killing machines that only knew how to kill. Hee, God of Destruction has made so many small moves on Earth recently, isn't he just trying to cultivate the combat effectiveness of the warriors on Earth and improve the level of the planet? Same as before. With me here, how can I let you be so happy? In the near future, I will turn the entire universe into a world of demons, and see what you, the God of Destruction, will do. After speaking, he fell asleep. At this time, the God of Destruction and Wes are rushing towards the technology star. Weiss, are there two more demons? Why is there only one now? Lord God of Destruction, don't embarrass others, they are not gods. It seems like they are. People are anxious to know the answer. Then hurry up and take a look there. Whoosh. Light and shadow flicker. God of Destruction and Wes finally arrive at Techstar. There. The God of Destruction dropped with a flash, and flew directly to the headquarters building of the Technology Star North Galaxy Company. Not good. This breath. How come the God of Destruction is here? Hurry back to the Demon Star. The sleeping boss jumped up from the sofa with a jolt, and suddenly saw the transmission device in Wiz's office in a hurry, which read quantum transmission. Hey, it's good to have this. The God of Destruction rushed directly to Wiz's office, only to see a weird little head shrinking and hiding in a glass pillar. Hesitating for a moment, the glass beads flashed white light. The God of Destruction waved an energy wave and hit it. Bang! It fell, and the glass shattered to the ground. The people inside are gone. A moment later, Weiss came, and the two sensed that magic energy appeared on the other side of the planet. Whis quickly teleported with the God of Destruction. Whoosh! A dazzling purple beam of light flashed in the square where the prince and others had visited. The God of Destruction and the two teleported to the side, and there seemed to be a figure in the beam of light. The God of Destruction rushed over. Seeing this, Weiss shouted, "Lord Destroyer, you haven't got your lunch yet. If I starve to death, I'll have to find the next destroyer." It's really nerve-wracking. Weiss watched helplessly as the God of Destruction disappeared, and happily opened the God of Destruction bento and ate it. The God of Destruction followed the beam of light and disappeared. After a while, he landed on a strange planet, with cold astral wind blowing everywhere, and all he could see was a desolate iron house. What's even more bizarre is that the planet's gravity seems to be far higher than that of others, and it is full of energy, like a demon's minions, greedily demanding its own flesh and blood. The God of Destruction felt the blood in his body tumbling suddenly, as if he was about to be dragged out, but his body was still like a rock, tightly locking the body and sealing the holes, and the blood flow slowly calmed down. Is this the Demon Star? Power is not bad. At this time, the God of Destruction was calm, and when he saw the person who lost him, he floated up to the sky of the planet, let go of the induction, and found that the planet's demonic flames were monstrous, and every person living on the planet had a huge demonic energy. It seems that it is the headquarters of the Devil family. I don't know if the so-called Demon King is there. Could it be the one who escaped just now? The God of Destruction, with the memory fragments of the God of Destruction, naturally knows some real situations of the demon world in the legend of the universe, but like many Protoss, he doesn't know how to directly reach the Demon Star. On a whim, he threw the Prince Raditz and the two into the cage battlefield, because he had the intention of finding the Devil's Star. Well, since it's here now, let's destroy it. Anyway, the prince and Raditz have already rushed to Earth, so there is no need to exist here. When the god of destruction came to Techstar just now, he sensed that two Saiyans were taking a group of demons in a spaceship to the direction of the Earth. He slowly stretched out his right hand, and the purple destructive energy slowly condensed into a ball. The demons on the planet were unaware and continued to live their lives as walking dead. And in the high-rise office, a short head opened wide white eyes in surprise, and said in surprise, "What's going on? The god of destruction has arrived at the Devil's Star, why didn't he die?" According to ancient books, the previous god of destruction was in office. When the Devil's Star descended, it was swallowed in a few seconds. When the head mentioned the ancient book, he suddenly rolled his eyes and said in his heart, "Forget it, it seems that what the book says may not be reliable, but now the god of destruction is using destructive energy to destroy the Devil's Star soon, so it can only be like that done." After speaking, his figure suddenly disappeared, and he did not know where to go. Above the planet, the god of destruction's destructive energy ball has taken shape, and he feels the strange feeling of awkwardness on his body, and gently pushes it with his right hand. "Farewell, Demon Star. Destroy." The majestic power burst out and slammed into the Demon Star, and all the demons on the planet vanished into ashes in an instant. Boom boom boom. The wrecking ball continued to devour the Demon Star, and all of a sudden, the Demon Star spewed out monstrous demonic flames as if it had come to life, and the spirit sneered, the wrecking ball actually passed through the Demon Star. Suddenly, in the depths of the Demon's star core, a lingering voice came. "God of destruction, I didn't expect it. The Demon Star is a collection of all dark energy in this universe, and it is the purest dark energy. Your power of destruction cannot destroy such a pure spiritual element." As soon as the voice fell, the planet-sized demonic aura suddenly condensed and shrank, and slowly gathered towards the star core. Gradually, a human-shaped black hole is exposed at the core of the star. It is the boss who has turned into a handsome appearance, also known as the Devil. Chapter 125, The Identity of the Boss. The god of destruction looked at the person with black flames in front of him, pouted, and said in disappointment, "You are not the disappearing Dapra." "That's right, Dapra, that kid, probably doesn't have as deep a devilish energy as you." Unexpectedly, the opposite boss heard laughing and said arrogantly, "I'm Dapra. God of destruction, you are so stupid. I'm not that traitor Dapra. He actually turned to the Protoss behind my back. What if it is the king of the great realm who is infected with the evil heart? Has he forgotten how the Protoss treated pure-blooded demons after the demon boo was sealed in the ancient times? The god of destruction stands on the star market. Since the demon star has been absorbed, the surrounding gravitational fields are all distorted, forming a chaotic time and space. He couldn't help thinking of the ancient demon sealed in Dragon Ball and what Shenlong said to him. He believed the answer from the person in front of him, and became even more curious. "Oh, who are you then?" "Hee, the dignified god of destruction has destroyed so many planets. Naturally, I don't remember who I am. You can treat me as the second generation of Demon Boo. Now that I have swallowed the Devil's Star, I have nothing to do with the most primitive one. Like Majin Buu, they are all condensed from the most evil dark energy in the universe. You know, Majin Buu killed more than a dozen of your predecessors in the beginning tilde. Hey, the most original Majin Buu. In the God of Destruction memory fragment, that Majin Buu is the God of Destruction who killed more than a dozen of his predecessors. Even Whis admitted that he was no match for the Majin Buu of that period. The Demon Buu of that period was simply invincible in the world. If it wasn't for the killing of time, the pig-killing knife, the seventh universe would not be able to escape the situation of being occupied by the ancient demons. Now, the God of Destruction became even more excited when he thought of someone who couldn't beat Whis. Although he had already beaten Whis, he thought that he might encounter someone who was more powerful in the legend. He stared at the fireman with black flames in front of him, his face full of excitement, eager to try. Seeing the change in God of Destruction's expression, the boss immediately shot a weak light from his white eyes on God of Destruction. His eyes rolled. He found it. The boss's body changed abruptly, and it turned out to be exactly the same as Weiss. Although I don't know who she is, but I see that you have always been afraid of this person deep down in your heart. I didn't expect the dignified God of Destruction to be afraid of a woman. Ha 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 ha, let's take you on your way now. God is so afraid of women. That's Angel Weiss. Okay. If it weren't for a good father, I wouldn't even know my mother when I beat him. The key is that Lao Su is annoying him, can't you? Damn, I'm so scared of that sissy. After hearing this, the God of Destruction was furious, and he took a flash step and leaned in front of the boss. The bowl-sized fist slammed into Weiss, one after another, completely unable to fight back. Hey, don't say it, looking at you like a bird, it's really fun. That, Weiss, was suddenly attacked by the God of Destruction. He didn't expect the speed to be so fast, and his weak counterattacks were all directly avoided by the God of Destruction while he was walking fast. It was incredible. Weiss knew that if he didn't want to resist, the God of Destruction would beat him to death with his fists. With a flick of his eyes, he shone on the God of Destruction again, and suddenly a tin stick appeared, pointing down. Back to 0.01 seconds ago. Good thing it's here. I saw that the God of Destruction landed with a heavy punch and another punch. Weiss was already prepared, raised the tin stick to the first gear, slammed, the tin stick was smashed into powder, he hurriedly punched, the two fists collided, and a terrifying and violent aftermath directly destroyed the nearest planet. The two of them were each rebounded by their energy and dodged to the side. Hey, not bad. Huh, you can even copy a tin cane. No, you can even do this trick. You came back from the future, right? The God of Destruction looked at the fake Weiss in front of him with great interest, exclaimed from time to time, and suddenly said, since you can copy Weiss, why don't you just become me? Don't you think I can't compare to that fake girl? The boss who became Weiss didn't answer the God of Destruction. He was secretly calming his breath. That one shot just now consumed 1/3 of his dark energy. Fortunately, Fic Demon can only copy the opponent's skills in a simple way, otherwise if he fully used it just now. I'm afraid that move will kill you directly. Who is this person named Weiss? As for why he didn't become the God of Destruction, it's because the Fic Demon's talent can only copy the object including the skills of the object by stealing the opponent's shallow memory. And when the boss looks at the God of Destruction's memory with white eyes, he can only see to a few bits and pieces. You can't see something deeper about the God of Destruction, and naturally you can't become the latter. The boss naturally doesn't know that the God of Destruction at this time is no longer a God of Destruction. God of Destruction saw that the aura of the people in front of him had actually weakened a lot, and his interest was lost, and he said, it's boring. I thought you said you can compare to Majin Buu. How powerful. Forget it, look at your face. For the sake of it, I'd better send you back to the West sooner. You don't know how much I hate this face. So, why do you have to turn back and die again? As soon as he finished speaking, the figure of the God of Destruction disappeared, and flashed behind Weiss, in an instant, quietly looking at the panicked person in front of him. His left hand touched his chin comfortably, and his right hand tapped Weiss. Hey, what's behind you? Can't find out. Boom. A punch, rubbed in the vacuum, and set off a wave of sound. I saw that although the boss had transformed into Weiss, the black flames still surrounded him. At this time, the God of Destruction attacked him violently, and he seemed to swallow the God of Destruction with his teeth and claws. The God of Destruction suddenly opened his mouth and blew, and all the arrogance disappeared. After a while, an alien with a short head was revealed. Hey, who is this? You are a variety show, you look the same for a while. God of Destruction stood in the air, holding out a finger. Never mind, destruction is. Forget it, kill a bug like you, let's not waste the energy of destruction. The God of Destruction remembered that he had used up the energy of destruction, so he had to go back to sleep to replenish it, and he would miss a lot of good shows below. So, he suddenly retracted the destruction energy ball and switched to ordinary power lasers. Fingertips glow, ready to go. At this time, the boss, who had changed back to his original form due to lack of physical strength, paused abruptly when he saw the god of destruction, and sighed secretly for a good chance. Time stands still. Whoosh. Hey, I thought it was a great trump card. It's actually these tricks to coax children. Where is the real power of time and space used like this? You are just a child's magic trick. Let's see what is power of time and space. Go. The boss raised his finger here, still holding his breath. Suddenly, he heard a voice, and was horrified to find the god of destruction standing behind him inexplicably. He hurriedly inhaled and pointed another finger in the direction of the god of destruction. Whoosh. Gone again. Die. The knife fell from the hand, and the corpse was smashed on the ground. Chapter 126 The Resentment of the Zuflu People. The god of destruction stood in the chaotic space with a relaxed expression on his face, looking at the scattered flesh and blood. A sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. Hee, just because you are a Bizu, you can stop at a certain time point, and dare to mess around. What if you Biju people are called the human race closest to God? Isn't that the same garbage? God of Destruction thought that the boss he killed was a Biju man in the universe with a unique talent for manipulating time. He recalled that the move he just released was the Flash Time Space. He got his inspiration from Dragon Ball Super. Flash Space. It is the ace skill of Hit in the 6th universe. It is upgraded from Flash Time. It can store time, create space with the stored time, and move freely. Only phantoms are left in the real world, so you can see it in front of you. Hit was unable to attack him, and Hit approached the opponent through space and attacked at any time. And the god of destruction cast just now, without even leaving a phantom in the real world, the opponent thought it was a teleportation. But in fact, the entire time and space have been transformed. Of course, the boss couldn't see this even more. God of Destruction is immersed in moves, thinking about how to use the power of time to upgrade and evolve more powerful moves. Suddenly, a piece of flesh and blood stuffed in the vacuum swelled up and turned into a dead boss in an instant. Seeing this, the god of destruction thought to himself, is it the rebirth of the demon Buu? No, the rebirth of Majin Buu is more complicated. This is the talent of the Namekians. As long as the core of the brain is not broken, it will be resurrected again. Ya ba. Who the hell is this guy? Don't bother, just destroy it. At this point, the god of destruction stretched out his finger to condense a purple ball of light, yawned and said slowly, Hey, I really don't want to sleep, but you are a bit annoying, so I'd better destroy it directly, save trouble. I don't care if you are. The Biju people are still Namekians. Hearing the words, the boss stomped his feet in anger. Seeing the god of destruction slowly condense the wrecking ball, he let out a weak sigh. I saw his body swell, gritted his teeth, and said viciously, God of destruction. Lao Su is neither a Bizu nor a Namekian. Lao Su is the last descendant of the Zuflu people. All thanks to you, if you didn't secretly cultivate Saiyans back then, saying that technological civilization can't improve the level of the universe better than martial arts, how could we Zuflu people lose to those savage monkeys? Therefore, Lao Su was born with the resentment of all the dead Zuflu stars, and was finally brought back here by the ancient demons of the Demon Star. Woohoo, woohoo. I know that you have now subdued those cowardly demon kings and gods, and let them send troops to your pet Saiyan as a sharpening stone. Ha ha, you can't think of it. Lao Su also took the opportunity to send demonized Saiyans to the earth, and they will definitely kill all the human beings on the earth. You know, our demon ancestors, unlike those fallen wastes, the races that we control and demonize will only be reduced to killing machines. At that time, the entire universe will be filled with these monsters, they will erode all energy, and finally the universe cannot grow and is waiting to be destroyed. Of course, you god of destruction can't see it. You give all of us Zuflu a funeral. You can't escape. Since the ancient demons were sealed by the demon Buu, the demon star was specially enclosed in a different dimension space in a strange place in the universe. There are indestructible enchantments around it. I don't know the magic seal of the formation. Anyone who comes, can't get out. For example, your last god of destruction, Noches, was here, and was sucked to death by the demon star, unable to escape. Ha 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 ha. __. At the end, the boss's body has become puffed up, and the laughter in his mouth has also changed its tone. The god of destruction drooped his ears, raised his eyebrows, and took back the wrecking ball. He really didn't want to waste his energy, and then shouted to the boss, "Hey, you are so boring. After finally resurrecting, you just wanted to explode. Then you can play by yourself, I'm leaving." The boss, who turned into a big balloon, bulged his eyes and looked at him like a fool after listening to the god of destruction. As soon as the god of destruction finished speaking, he turned around and lifted up a curtain of light with great ease, and then the whole person stepped in and disappeared. I do not want. Not reconciled. Forget it, it's all up to you, my child, babe. The boss's eyes were suddenly deep, and it seemed to land on a planet through time and space. Whirring. In the whole chaotic space, only the sound of the body being swelled by air can be heard. Boom. The god of destruction yawned and appeared in the universe. Ouch, fool. I actually said that it exploded, and I didn't know it would come back. In the past, if he didn't master the power of time and space, it was really possible that he would be locked in the forbidden space of the Devil's Star. But why can't all the villains be aggressive and keep up with the times? I also used the previous old imperial calendar to see all the opponents. The god of destruction showed a mocking smile at the corner of his mouth, and when he looked up, he saw Whis dodging beside him. Whoops, god of destruction isn't dead, it makes the Loon family's heart skip a beat. Hearing the words, the god of destruction couldn't help but think of beating up the alien who turned into Wes just now, and his heart felt refreshed, happy. In the real world, I don't dare to beat you too much as a sissy, who told you to have a good father. Hee, you didn't come here to choose the next generation of god of destruction, did you? No way. Lord God of Destruction really doesn't understand the mind of the Loon family more and more. The previous generation god of destruction Noches also died long after the Devil's Star, and I only found you. Hee, ghosts believe, it is obvious that Noches died, and he came to me. Otherwise, he would not have taken over, there would be so many messes, and there was no way to seal the old god of the realm into the sword, or else the universe is so chaotic and uncertain, when will he implicate himself in the fart? The god of destruction looked at the fragments of memories and muttered in his heart. Hey, I didn't expect the god of destruction to do something that your predecessor never did. You must know that Noches finally encouraged the evil-minded Daji Wangshan to pretend to be undercover in the devil world, and then he found his way into the Devil's Star. In the end, I was sucked to death without saying anything, and I sent a great realm god over there for nothing. Hey, the god of destruction won't do such a stupid thing to give your opponent a chicken. Whis pursed his lips and grinned, looking at the god of destruction intentionally or unintentionally. Okay, don't grind, didn't I kill them all? The mess left by the X, I have to deal with. And Noches, aren't you the one you chose? Master God of Destruction, don't kill the Loon family. The Loon family knows it's wrong. It's not that Boo, the dead ghost. He killed more than a dozen gods of destruction in a row, and it's not so fast to cut the leaks. The conspirator from the bucket of water took over. Okay, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and pick up Sun Wufan, or you will miss a good show. Whis held the hand of the god of destruction, and with a light stroke of the tin stick, disappeared instantly. Chapter 127. Unrest in the Demon World on Earth. Demon Star. Ding. A light. Whis flashed with the god of destruction. Seeing this, Sun Wufan, who was guarding the fierce Star Realm Gate, rushed over and saw tears in his eyes, saying, Master, you finally came to pick me up. I really want to go home. I really want to eat Mom's cooking, you don't know how sour and unpalatable the flesh of the dragons here is. God of Destruction patted Gohan's head in his arms, Not bad, the combat power actually reached 5.5 million in such a month. According to this kid's urination, a full-strength burst should be able to deal more than 50 million damage. Don't talk nonsense, the earth is going to be gone, and I still want to eat. Go back with Lao Su. The God of Destruction roared Sun Wukong in a vicious voice, and with a glance out of the corner of his eye, he saw Piccolo peeking in the dark, with a wicked smile on his mouth, and a voice transmission hit his mind. Okay, Piccolo, let lousy apprentice with such a good belt, your combat power has not fallen, but it has reached 30 million, the magic weapon of gravity field that I gave you should have been used by you. Piccolo hid there embarrassedly, without saying a word, only to see the three gods of destruction flashing and disappearing. They should have reached the earth. The blue earth, after careful training by the god of destruction, has officially entered the era of spiritual recovery. Dark depths. The demon world of earth, which was once broken by the childhood Monkey King, is now surrounded by a group of 5 big and 3 thick monsters. Hey, you guys said, a few days ago, the boss of Zhu Xing made a sound transmission and said that the Earth boundary master he appointed would arrive in a few days. What do you think of this? Hey, Waka, what else can you think of it? That was said by the boss himself, although I don't know why the boss came to the Northern Galaxy Company in person, and specially sent us a voice transmission. After all, our land has been desolate for more than 10 years. The Northern Galaxy Company looks down on it. Quote, I think it's fine now. After Asura's death, no one will care about us. How free we are. A coquettish witch squeezed into the crowd, with anger on her face, and scolded, Churls, you idiot, do you think we will continue to be like this without a leader, and we will have a good life? Don't you forget, the pseudo world is over there. The great demon king of Piccolo. I heard that after the death of old Piccolo, his son has now unified the pseudo world again, and he is very ambitious, trying to unify the world. Do you think he will let us go here? Reina, why are you angry? I'll just say something casually. Then Lena, as you see it, what's your opinion? According to the report of the spies, Piccolo has disappeared for a long time, and he may not be on Earth for a long time. Then we just take the opportunity of the new realm lord to capture the pseudo realm and unify the Earth's demon realm. The strength of this guy. Well, let's do it. Anyway, the Northern Galaxy Company above us has been hanging on to us and let us fend for ourselves. This time, we actually let the boss of Zhu Xing speak in person, so we can't lose face anymore. However, do you guys guess who this new realm master is? You can actually let the boss speak and identify himself. You said, is it possible that it is Gouda? Gouda is a celebrity in the eyes of the boss, and he is also the younger brother of the boss of the Northern Galaxy. Waka, you don't want to leave Zuxing's logistics team leader alone, who would care about the fly meat with sesame seeds on the earth. Don't talk nonsense, tidy up and go. For a moment, a large group of demonic arrogant monsters with nearly 1,000 people poured out of the spacious demon world gate. Lena stood at the top of the crowd, looked at the Asura sword stuck on the ground with great nostalgia, and shouted sharply behind her. In the past, we were weak and let the pseudo-world develop, but now the boss of Zhu Xing personally sends people to supervise us. The boundary of the earth, we can no longer embarrass the ancient demons. Now, join me in smashing the false world and unifying the earth. Destroy the pseudo-world. Unify the earth. The voice was thunderous, and the momentum was moving. Churus, you use your talent to open the gate to the pseudo-realm, let's go straight in and catch them off guard. Lena pointed out a monster and ordered. Okay. The monster responded, and he stood still and raised his hands, and the fluttering magic flames on his body suddenly gathered together, shrinking into a ball of pure energy, concentrated in the palms of both hands. The energy collided with each other, rubbed the air, and sent out nourishment. Sizzle. After a while, a large hole appeared in the empty air, and the hole was full of darkness, revealing a sinister and strange aura, which should be the pseudo-world in their mouths. Come on. Reina gave the order, and nearly 1,000 people behind her rushed into the cave. The big hole gradually became smaller. Reina got into the cave, turned her head coldly, and said to Waka, who was weak and fell to the ground. "Charles, we will remember you. Mummy, I want you to remember this stinky bitch. Hurry up and take my share and beat up those traitors and bastards to death." As soon as the voice fell, the monster Cyrus turned into a plume of black smoke and dissipated in the air. He knows that his own magic power is not enough to support the opening of the pseudo-realm gate, so he has never tried it before, but this time he may be unwilling or something else, but he did it without hesitation. Originally, Cyrus, a group of purebred demons from the demon star, needed to absorb dark energy for a living, so they would often create panic on Earth to generate a large amount of dark energy. However, although the base of the Earth is large, the single human energy on the Earth in the past was too small, and the dark energy generated was naturally weak. It's only in the last few years that for some reason, it has gradually increased a lot. As a result, they were stole the limelight by Bix's group of second-generation goods, but those second-generation goods were not pure-blooded demons, but aliens with evil thoughts took refuge in the fake demons on the demon realm star. So they don't have to live by sucking dark energy at all, and they come for the slogan of unifying the world. Ya bah, this hurt Cyrus and the others. Reina and other monsters were also depressed for a long time. At this time, they finally invaded the pseudo-realm. The monsters of nearly 1,000 people crushed the opposite because they were scourged by Piccolo. There are very few pseudo-monsters left. The momentum is like a broken bamboo, and it is unstoppable. A few hours later, Reina and the other monsters were lying in a huge palace panting and resting, with blood all over their bodies and corpses under their feet. "Hey, the guards of this palace are a bit tricky, I think it should taste good." "Waka, don't just worry about eating. I seem to see a guard inside turning on the signal array. It should be asking for support for their demon lord Piccolo. I think, rather than asking for support, it's better to report the death, and let that kid Piccolo come to have a mental preparation." Ha 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 ha. "You said, knowing that the pseudo-world is so fragile, why didn't Asura dare to come before?" "It's not that the Asura guy has been dead since he was seriously injured by old Piccolo. In addition, the Northern Galaxy Company won't let the forces of our various boundaries have too many conflicts with the pseudo-world, and try to keep a low profile. It turns out that, no wonder Ashura was defeated by that hairy boy." "Reina, what are your plans next?" At this time, the monsters experienced a victory, and it seemed that Reina, who was giving orders, was the leader. I saw Reina blinking her beautiful and agile big eyes, and said in a deep voice, "Next, collect Saku seeds, sow them on the earth, and wait for the arrival of the Lord of the New Territories." Chapter 128, Doomsday on Earth. After 3 days. Earth. Bowsy Mountain. The 3 gods of destruction finally arrived here with a flash of light and shadow. In fact, it didn't take so long according to Wes's teleportation speed, but when passing a planet, the god of destruction suddenly smelled a scent, which made him extremely disgusted. Those disgusting reptiles. It turned out that the god of destruction saw that a planet was occupied by a group of arrogant monsters. He couldn't help but destroyed it with a bang with a laser cannon. Therefore, Son Gohan is only now returning to his hometown. As soon as he landed, Sun Wukong rushed into the house and saw that Chi-Chi was busy in the house, and threw himself into his arms with tears in his eyes. "Mom, I finally see you. I miss you. You don't know, there is only sour dragon meat to eat outside, which is completely inferior to the dinosaur meat in our Baozition. Goo 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 goo, I want to eat my mother's cooking. Dinner." Seeing the pitiful appearance of Sun Wukong, Chi-Chi became furious and was about to explode when she suddenly saw the god of destruction and Weiss come in, and immediately changed her words. "Silly boy, your master is all for your own good. Look at you. You've only been a month old, and the breath on your body is so fierce, it's probably much stronger than your dead father." After she finished speaking, she quietly glanced at the god of destruction from the corner of her eyes. "Hey, Wukong's mother-in-law, hurry up and cook for this god of destruction. Use your best craftsmanship. The god of destruction sat carelessly on a chair in the room, giving orders to Kiki. Ho 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 ho, god of destruction, be gentle with girls, or the Loon family won't be able to stand it. As soon as Weiss finished speaking, he picked up the meat buns on the table next to him, salivating. Slam! The god of destruction took the bun from Weiss' hand and said slowly, then don't eat it. Weiss sighed inwardly, god of destruction, this is a flash time space. His use of time and space power has become more and more proficient recently. Hee, I have to work hard, or I will be robbed in the future. After a while, Chi-Chi served the food, and the three of them ate their food. Suddenly, a loud thunder sounded in the sky, and a dark cloud filled the curtain. A gate was slowly opened in the empty sky, and a group of roaring monsters walked out. It was Lena and the others. Humans on Earth, listen to me. Our great boundary lord is coming to Earth. In order to welcome his arrival, we decided to invite you to join our demon race. After speaking, Reina's palm shook, and it seemed that countless light spots disappeared into the air and disappeared. The gate of the void slowly closed, and all the monsters disappeared. On Earth, no matter where the human beings live, they have all seen the scene just now. But after several battles to defend the Earth, these human beings have obviously strengthened their psychological qualities. Most of them laughed at Reina's words and didn't care, and then some of them were thinking about joining the demon race. Only a few people quickly dragged their families and tried to escape. Of course, where the great escape of the Earth went is unknown. Turtle Fairy House. Master Wu Tian, where is this new demon lord? Isn't the demon King Piccolo? Krillin and Turtle Immortal also saw the scene of the devil coming out on the island. Hee, that witch's figure is really top-notch. It seems that she stole a glimpse of her inner. Ha ha ha, I really want to take another look. The Turtle Immortal had a nosebleed, and his mind was full of pink nay, and he didn't hear Klein's words at all. Seeing this, Krillin sighed in his heart, thinking that Piccolo had died, and a more powerful demon king came. The Earth has to suffer again. Suddenly, the old man tortoise threw away his crutches and tore off his short-sleeved shirt. He suddenly grew bigger and turned into the muscular old Schwarzenegger. Kaylin was startled, looked at him, and saw that he was bleeding from 7 orifices, his eyes were full of red bloodshots, and his body was spraying with steam, like a burning man who had just come out of the sauna wrapped in a bath towel. I'm going to the demon world. I'm going to the demon world. I want to see beautiful women. Immortal Turtle was stunned, and kept shouting in his mouth. He turned around and walked towards the door, just as he saw Kaylin stop there, and threw a turtle qigong at him. Kaylin hurriedly dodged, and at this moment, the Turtle Immortal got out of the door and ran away without a trace. Not good. Gotta find God. Kaylin searched around and found no one, so he returned to the Guixian house and said to the old turtle, Agui, you stay at home and wait for Master Wu Tian to come back. I will go to the heavens to ask the gods for help. Okay, you have to be careful. Suddenly, Kaylin disappeared and went straight to the sky. Kaylin, you're here. Cough, I already know your purpose. God can only tell you that this group of demons is not Piccolo's subordinates. During the time when they merged with Piccolo, they had something to do with the aura of these demons. I understand, and the demonic atmosphere in the sky was more intense that day, not something that Piccolo's gang can compare with. Cough. Tianshan didn't seem to recover his body, he kept coughing, and Bobo behind him kept pounding his back. Then what happened to Master Wu Tian? What will happen to him? After hearing this, Kaylin thought of the missing Turtle Immortal. He intuitively told him that this matter must have something to do with the demons in the sky, so he asked anxiously. The population on Earth has decreased since that one came. Cough, cough, cough. No, it's condensed a lot, and now it's only 1/3 of the original, and after that day, and the number of people who are under the control of demons like the old immortals has already reached half. That is to say, half of the people on the entire Earth have joined the demon world, and they are making troubles everywhere. Tianjin Fan and the others have already stopped the troublemakers, but the effect is not great. The group of half-demon and half-human are completely desperate, as if they have no thoughts, and Tianjin Fan and the others have no way to start. At present, it seems that there is no other way but to kill them. Then I have to hurry up and support them. As soon as Keelan flew away, the gods chopped off the scepter angrily. Bobo, quickly give them the super divine water, it should be useful to those humans who are controlled by the demons. Cough. Lord Tianshan, isn't the super divine water tricking the world? That is super holy water. Super holy water can develop potential, but it is poisonous. If it is drunk by a person with a pure mind, it can help him develop his potential and grow rapidly. If it is drunk by someone who has evil thoughts, maybe it can fight poison with poison. To help those controlled humans recover. Cough. Now only have a try. Okay, Bobo will go right away. Please take care of your body, Lord God. The sky was empty, and there was only the old god of the gods left. He stared at the bottom and saw that the earth on earth was already smoky. All kinds of evil aspects of human nature erupted, and both urban and rural areas were dominated by robbers, who would do anything to burn, kill, and loot. Hey, Piccolo should be here soon. It seems that this time is really doomed. Asterisk. Chapter 129. The Effect of Super Divine Water. Earth. Baozi Mountain. Master God of Destruction, don't you hate those ancient demons the most? A few days ago, I was still angry with children, and I just wanted to delay the time to destroy that planet. Ho ha ho ho. Weiss covered his mouth and laughed. Weiss, shut up and let me have a leisurely meeting. Let the Earthlings take care of the children's stuff, and I'm not their nanny. The god of destruction was swinging leisurely in the woods, and then shouted in the direction of the house. Hey, son Gohan, how long are you going to catch up with your old lady? Come out like a man soon. When Chi-Chi heard the words, her body trembled, and she quickly pushed Sun Wufan, who was coquettish on her body, to the door, and said in a straight voice. Gohan-kun, come on. Don't forget, you are the apprentice of the most powerful god of destruction in the universe. Okay, Mom, I'm still your son, Father Sun Wukong's son. I won't embarrass you. Sun Wufan was refreshed and walked out of the room with a determined look on his face. The other side. Cut, hit a few little lizards, it's like sending to death. This Sun Wufan's experience on the demon star is still not enough. The god of destruction sat up and spat lightly. Oh ho ho, the god of destruction is proud to hear that you are the most powerful in the universe. Ho ha ho ho. Let's go. The two took Son Gohan and disappeared instantly. Exedu, the most densely populated and prosperous city on Earth. At this time, it was deserted and turned into an empty ghost town. Whoosh. In midair, a light curtain was raised, and a group of monsters walked out. Reina, the leader, dressed in a sexy dress, murmured at the bottom. My people, wake up. A group of human faces with different shapes came out of the dilapidated floor with stiff faces. In an instant, the entire empty city was filled. The one standing at the front was actually the old man who was a mortal tortoise. Nene, Nene, the witch's pink Nene. Damn old man, take you as the front cannon fodder. Reina heard it clearly in midair, gritted her teeth and roared, let's go. How about dumplings? Tianjin, they are here. The first is, Master Wu Tian. What's the matter, Krillin? After the devil came out to speak that day, Mr. Wushan was controlled and ran out. Then I went to the gods, and the gods asked me to help you. It turns out that the gods knew that Mr. Wushan was here. No, Keelan, we have also had a wisp of magic aura on our bodies since that day, but it was wiped out with a little luck. It stands to reason that Teacher Wu Tian will not be controlled so easily. Hee hee, that old man's sexuality is hard to change, how can he get rid of it so easily? Tianjin rice, dumplings, Yucha, Pool, Keelan and others were ambushed near the outskirts of Exedu, paying close attention to the movements of the demons in the city. At this time, when they heard the demon approaching, they cheered up and prepared for war. Whoosh. A light and shadow flashed. God of Destruction and Whis brought Son Gohan not far behind them. Then, Whis conjured up a tent and lounge chairs, and the God of Destruction lay in it, looking at the air comfortably. Master, won't you go over? Don't be long-winded. A few little bugs, can't you squeeze them to death? Okay, then Gohan won't bother Master. Master, goodbye, Lord Whis, goodbye. After finishing speaking, Sun Wukong flew towards Tianjin Fan and the others. Only then did Tianjin Fan and the others find out that Sun Wukong was coming, and then saw the God of Destruction and Whis in the distance. Uncle Keelan, Uncle Tianjin Fan, Uncle Yincha, Dumpling Pool, sorry for being late. Sun Wukong said timidly. His breath was restrained at this time, so Tianjin Fan and others had not yet discovered his true fighting power. It doesn't matter, that group of demons was also dispatched, and it's useless for you to come, Gohan, ha 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 ha. I mean, to deal with these half-demon and half-humans, there is absolutely no other way than killing them directly. Yucha touched his head and said embarrassedly. Well, these human beings controlled by the demon race are still human after all, and Master Wu Tian is also inside, I really can't bear to kill them. Tianjin Rice quickly added. Otherwise, use the Dragon Balls to resurrect them at the end. No, Mr. Wu Tian has already died once while fighting the great demon King Piccolo. Quote. I'm sorry, all the Earth Warriors, Lord Tenjin asked me to send you the super divine water. It's only now because I waited for a few days. The black Mr. Bobo rushed over on the magic flying carpet. Super divine water. Sun Wukong once drank it when he was a child. Lord Tianjin said that this might help you solve the problem of controlling demons. Really, the gods aren't sure. I can only try. Okay, I wish you good luck. I'll go back and deal with Lord Tianjin. After that, Bobo flew away again on the magic carpet. Now, there is finally a way, let's try it first. Tianjin Fan and the others looked at the bottle in their hands carefully. No, Tianjin, Master Wu Tian is here. When everyone heard the words, they turned their heads to look in the direction of the devil, and saw that the leading old man, the immortal turtle, had come to the front with a mighty group of walking corpses. Teacher Wu Tian, wake up, don't be used by the devil. Krillin jumped out first to block in front of Immortal Turtle and shouted at him. Nay nay, nay nay, little bald nay, no interest. Immortal Turtle's muscles were tense all over, his eyes were dull with red light, and he murmured in his mouth. Keelan, don't talk nonsense, Master Wu Tian has been controlled and can't wake up, he can only try the super divine water. Drink tea, you and Gohan, and dumplings to restrain other humans, I will go to the sky to destroy the group of demons. People. No, it's too dangerous for you alone, and if they hide in that light curtain again, they won't be able to find them again. Mr. Kling, let me go. I have experience dealing with demons. When Sun Wukong heard the people arguing, he suddenly stood up and took the initiative to fight. Everyone was stunned. It doesn't matter, trust me. My father is Sun Wukong, and my master is the God of Destruction. Everyone looked at the immature face of Sun Gohan with a strange look and said the truth that no one could deny. Okay, Gohan, be careful, if the devil hides in the light curtain, you will come back, and don't risk it alone. The expression on Keelan's face changed. After thinking about Gohan's words, he felt that Gohan should have no problem protecting himself, so he reluctantly agreed to his request. Thank you, Mr. Kling, everyone, I'll go first. As soon as the words fell, Sun Wukong burst out with energy, and suddenly a wave of air rushed to the ceiling, and then flew into the sky, stunned everyone on the ground. Hee, this kid, the two fathers and sons of the Sun family are really monsters. Chapter 130, Annihilation of the Demon Race. Sun Wukong rushed towards the demons in the sky. Lena and the other demons were horrified when they saw his aura soaring, knowing that he was not an opponent. I saw Reina facing behind her and said, quick, throw away the Saku seeds. In response, a seed flew towards Sun Wukong. Sun Gohan dodged directly, Idiot, it won't work. Lena frowned, snatched the golden seeds from the hands of the person behind her, and suddenly closed her eyes to hold her mind, and the image of Sun Wufan suddenly appeared in her mind, saying, I will hit. The golden seed suddenly fell, turning into a shadow of nothingness, and went straight into Gohan's body, unable to dodge. Hee, at such a close distance, it's impossible to get rid of our control. The power of Earthlings grows so fast, it's useless if their brains can't keep up. Hey, after all, he's a child. Reina glanced at Son Gohan with a sigh, and suddenly shouted, Modun. Which was probably a demon language, and saw an upside-down character appearing on her forehead. Son Gohan thought that the devil had some powerful moves waiting for him, and suddenly stopped watching. For a moment, he realized that there was nothing wrong. What's going on? Why is the Saku seed not activated? It's quite enough time to deal with the Earthlings. Unless, he doesn't have any evil thoughts in his heart. Reina glanced at the naive Son Gohan and sighed that he had made a mistake. Suddenly seeing the explosive combat power of Son Gohan, he mistakenly thought that he had already experienced a lot of bloody killings to grow to this stage. She didn't know that although Sun Wufan had fought with many demons on the Demon Star, he rarely killed them. Therefore, Gohan's mind is still spotless, extremely pure. Hurry up, Waka, quickly pull out the Asura sword. Reina anxiously shouted at the monster Waka who was guarding the Asura sword behind her. Hearing this, Waka immediately drew out his great sword, only to see the light curtain slowly closing and closing in midair. It's finally safe. How can there be such a monster on the earth? It is already so powerful, and the pure heart, how did it grow? Seeing the curtain of light closing, Reina breathed a sigh of relief and sighed inwardly. Bang bang bang. The light curtain that formed a line was bombarded and deformed by an inexplicable force, and slowly raised a horn. Son Gohan stuck his head out from inside. Hee, Sister Witch, you quickly release the Grandfather Turtle Immortal, and the other humans you control. You are not my opponents, but I have fought with many devils who are more powerful than you, and also all wins. Lena was speechless when she heard Son Gohan's extremely proud and childish words, and suddenly stared at Son Gohan's face for a long time, and said slowly, Boy, who are you? Do you know Sun Wukong? Hearing the words, Sun Wufan shook his left hand up sharply, his whole body passed through the light curtain, and said excitedly, Wow, Sister Witch, you know my father, that's better. Boy, I know him, I don't have much friendship with him. Lena said, recalling the situation when Xiao Wukong broke into the demon world of the earth by himself. At that time, I told him that there would be a future, but I met him first. His son. This world is so tricky. Seeing Reina's sad expression, Sun Wufan was silent, thinking that he agreed to let him go, but another big monster sent a laser cannon at him, and he hurriedly dodged. Reina, what are you in a daze? If this kid dares to come in alone, he won't let him go back alive like his father. Our group is no longer the same as before, the Earthlings provide more and more dark energy, the current strength is several hundred times that of the past. How could it be possible that the shameful incident of letting a human boy come in alone and go back alive? After the monster finished speaking, he flew forward to fight Sun Wufan closely, but before he could get close, he was beaten by Sun Wufan with a hand. Hee, big guy, I said, you can't beat me. The rest of the monsters were furious when they heard the words, and they all came over. Snapped. Clap clap clap. In the blink of an eye, a piece of land lay on the ground. Sun Wufan's face was full of grievances, and he said in a buzzing voice. Sister Witch, persuade them, they are really not my opponents. Damn, a scholar can be killed but not humiliated. The remaining monsters rushed up, spraying all kinds of light from their mouths, and the dark space suddenly became colorful, like a fireworks scene. Petrochemical. Slow. Death ray. Ultimate cross slash. ... Hey, in front of such a beautiful sister, I am too embarrassed to eat your meat, I look so greedy. Sun Wufan didn't know if it was because he was planted with a demon seed, his mind changed. The thin body, standing in front of the demon body that he had deliberately piled up into the size of a hill and fainted, seemed even smaller. He swayed the huge Asura sword in his hand, and when he turned his head, he smiled brightly at Reyna with a sunny face. Sister Witch, hee, you're the only one left now. I don't know what happened to the old grandfather turtle immortal and the others. How about I let you go, and you let the controlled humans go? Che, the demons controlled by our ancient demons have no cure, because it is their own evil that causes the seeds to grow. Oh, is that so? Doesn't that mean that it's useless to leave you? Sun Wufan said with a harmless smile. Suddenly, in the dark space, a burst of light distorted, and a figure appeared. It's Bic. As soon as Piccolo appeared, a beam of light shot at the unconscious demon on the ground. HMPH, how dare you break my demon world and kill my clan? After he finished speaking, he turned and walked towards Reyna. Not good. Son Gohan suddenly rushed in the direction of Reyna, threw her down, and then set off a light curtain and threw it down suddenly. Sister Witch, we will meet again. Little devil, how dare you let go of my enemy? Piccolo looked at Sun Wufan coldly, and his whole body erupted wantonly. Hearing this, Sun Wufan turned around and hugged Piccolo's arm, dangling on top of his body, blinking at Piccolo with his big eyes, and said softly, Uncle Piccolo, I know the devil is fierce. You are training me on the star, so I have always been grateful to Uncle Pic. For the sake of me being so cute, please forgive me this time. Hee, a dead cultivator who only knows how to hide in the dark and cultivate, and when you meet such a lovely master as the young master, don't you want to hurt the young master if your mother's love overflows right away? Get out. Piccolo impatiently threw off the clingy Sun Wufan, ignored him, and flew away. Hee, still pretending, Son Gohan hid in the dark alone and watched Piccolo disappear. Done. The stupid and cute Son Gohan was inspired by the seeds of Saku, and he was an alternative lifestyle with a silly and sweet appearance and a black heart. Chapter 131. The Demon Warrior Vegeta Raditz arrives on Earth. Ho 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 ho, God of Destruction, Sun Wufan is really your apprentice. You dare to break into the demon race base alone. It's really in the same line. Weiss stood in the tent and chuckled. Go away, Weiss, this is the courage of being a top warrior, understand? Besides, it's just a group of four-legged reptiles. If Son Gohan can't beat him, there's no need to be my apprentice. The God of Destruction yawned and said impatiently. Far away. Seeing that Son Gohan really broke into the demon clan light curtain alone, Kaylin and the others were anxiously worried that something would happen to Gohan, and it was difficult for Wukong to explain it. But looking back at the leisurely appearance of the God of Destruction, I thought that Son Gohan was his apprentice, so it wouldn't be too bad. In front of him, a human being controlled like a long dragon stopped abruptly and still stood there sluggishly. Only the turtle immortal at the forefront seemed to still have a trace of sanity. Seeing that the light curtain in the sky disappeared, and the witch Lena, who was thinking of her heart, also disappeared, and she suddenly became furious. I saw the old man's huge muscles agitated again, his entire body instantly swelled in a circle, his aura skyrocketed terribly, and an inexplicable gust of wind blew around him. It's all your fault. It's you who kept me from seeing the witch Nene. You give me back my pink Nene. Seeing this, Kaylin and the others were horrified. Master Wu Tian was so powerful. This huge aura, felt at close range, was really terrifying. It seemed like another fierce battle. Then, in this way, we can only force him to drink the super divine water if we work together to beat him to the ground. Kind of tricky. Everyone stood still, forming a swaying horn, aiming at Turtle Immortal. At this time, the combat power of the immortal turtles has reached more than 4 million, while the rest of the people are the highest in Tianjin, but only more than 3 million. So in the face of the outbreak of the Turtle Fairy, everyone has a headache. Dumplings, dodge quickly. Teacher Wu Tian's combat effectiveness is unimaginable. Your control won't work. Okay, Tianjin, be careful. Just as Tianjin Fan told the dumplings to retreat, the immortal Guixian grabbed his breath, flashed to Tianjin Fan, and slashed violently with a knife in his hand. Boom! Tianjin Fan responded in a hurry and was caught off guard, and the dumplings behind him were blasted 100 meters away with violent force. Dumpling, are you alright? Tianjin Fan got up, patted the ashes on his body, and looked at the dumpling next to him. It's alright, Tianjin, come over. Good. Yincha and Kaylin took advantage of the Turtle Immortal's attacked from front and back, surrounded the latter, punching and kicking waves, setting off gusts of wind and waves, and suddenly the sky outside the suburbs was covered with wild sand. I'm coming. Tianjin Fan dashed into the battlefield, and a heavy punch hit Immortal Turtle in the waist. Immortal Turtle reacted instantly, the lower body sank, and the hard muscles resisted the sudden attack, not even an inch. It's amazing, as expected of Teacher Wu Tian. Seeing that the attack was ineffective, Tianjin Fan actually slowly lifted into the air, clasping his hands together, his whole body burst out, and slowly condensed between his hands. It was the Qigong cannon. Tianjin Fan, what are you doing? You will kill Teacher Wu Tian. Klein felt the change in anger, and looked up while dealing with the turtle fairy. Keelan, don't worry, I will take care of myself. If we don't do this, it will be very difficult for us to beat Master Wu Tian. Don't forget, Gohan still doesn't know where he is. Tianjin Fan replied in a deep voice in the air, and continued to condense the Qigong cannon. Suddenly, a person flashed. It was Son Gohan, and he rushed straight to Pool and Dumpling. Pool, turn into a rainbow-colored nene. Quick. Dumplings, give me super divine water. Catch. Sun Wufan flew in the air, picked up the super divine water, and reached out to grab Pool. With a bang, Pool turned into a rainbow-colored triangle. Then, he flew directly towards the Turtle Immortal battlefield. Grandpa Turtle Immortal, don't be angry. Look, this is your favorite rainbow-colored nene. All colors are available tilde. He flew directly in front of the imposing Turtle Immortal. The rainbow-colored nene that Pool had turned into, kept shaking in front of the latter's eyes, and then threw it at the Turtle Immortal's face. Suddenly, Immortal Turtle spurted blood from her nose, her eyes glowed with starlight, and her mouth was wide open in surprise. At this moment, Sun Wufan raised the bottle containing the supernatural water and poured his brain into the mouth of the turtle fairy. Boom boom boom. I saw Immortal Turtle's sturdy figure suddenly shrank, and turned back into that lewd and wretched old man. He stretched out his hands to hug the pair of underwear, and with a puff, Pool returned to his original form, and quickly fluttered his wings and flew high into the sky. Wow, where is this? Krillin, what are you doing? Boom. As soon as the voice fell, Immortal Turtle fell to the ground and was quickly helped by Kaylin. I don't know if it was too much force, or if I really got rid of the control of the demons and recovered. Seeing this, Tianjin Fan in the air quickly took the breath of the Qigong cannon and fell to the ground. Kaylin and others ran up one after another and praised Sun Wufan. Gohan, it's yours. Well, thank you Uncle Keelan. It's still thanks to you guys for holding back the old Grandpa Turtle Immortal. Are the demons all right? Well, beat them all, but Gohan accidentally let a witch go. It's okay, you are so young, you can kill a group of demons, you really deserve to be the son of Wukong, of course, thanks to the good teaching of the God of Destruction. Well, I'll tell my master what Mr. Kling said. No need. Pool flew back to Yucha with lingering fears, looked at Son Gohan on the side, panted and said, Master, do you think Gohan-kun seems to have changed and become so scary? Yucha knew that Pool blamed Gohan for taking him as his underwear and threw it in front of the Turtle Immortal, smiled and didn't take it seriously, and replied, Okay, Pool, Gohan is just a child, you see how wise he is, really blue is better than blue. Think about how Wukong and I dared to touch girls back then, let alone panties. No, Wukong seems to have touched it. It seems that this is inherited from their father and son. Boom boom boom. A huge spaceship cut through the sky and fell to the ground. There seems to be an amazing monster hidden in it, slowly awakening. Swish. Two monstrous demon flames blasted open the iron ship, revealing a human figure. It is the demonized prince and Raditz. Behind him stood a group of huge, strange and terrifying demons. Hee hee, it's finally here, the good show begins. The god of destruction grinned evilly and muttered. When Weiss heard the words, he gave him a meaningful look, but did not speak. Chapter 132, Saku Demon Squad. Sakuma Squad. The demons in the spaceship cabin gradually walked out. Looking closely, most of the demons behind Raditz and the prince looked exactly the same. Okay, Buyuida, take away your avatars, these illusory avatars, I will destroy them all with one finger. Raditz's forehead was engraved with a distinct character inscription, and the long black hair behind him was contrasted by black magic flames, like a large mop with black cloth strips flying around, hanging behind his head. He directed at the one behind him. The monster roared. Okay, Boss Raditz, I didn't come here to eat a piece of the flesh and blood of the boho demon, just to come to the new realm and give the two bosses a boost. In an instant, the group of identical demons gathered and merged into one. How many of you are also naturalized Sakus? The prince also has the inscription on the forehead of the inverted mountain. He crossed his chest with his hands, glanced behind him, and said indifferently. Because in the spaceship, he and Raditz have been in the recuperation cabin to restore the ancestral state. It seems that after the two people are turned on by the controller, the recovery function of the body also begins to weaken. Therefore, the two have not communicated with the other demons on the ship. Now that they have arrived on Earth, they naturally need to understand. Well, to report the two Earth World Lords, we are the Planetary Boundary World Lords under the Northern Galaxy Company. Because we are closest to the company's headquarters, we were specially transferred by Zuxing Boss. The boss also said that we will follow the Two World Lords Association. Conducive to the strengthening of the Saku bloodline in us. Quote. Hey, do you consider Lao Su and the two Saiyans as farmers? Help you raise chickens. Boss Prince, ask me, I'm Buyuida, we met in Zuxing. I was deliberately taken from Zuxing to Techstar by the boss. The boss is too fast. Well, I couldn't take it anymore, I just fainted for a day. The boss said that I was the only naturalized person in the logistics group, so he brought me here. Fortunately, I was clever. I killed a Bohian blood in a duel for witches before. The devil, it has been kept without changing. Shut up, don't mention your boss in front of Lao Su in the future. The prince said coldly, and glanced coldly at Buyuida who was talking just now, thinking in his heart that if Lao Su is not under his control, Lao Su will come to Earth and kill Kakarot and the others. Does he need his many hands? Raditz glanced at the strangely shaped demons behind him, twisted his neck, and said to the prince. Hey, Prince, you said that after the two of us completed the ancestral transformation of the Saku, why can't we store the talent of the devil? Not even the most basic one. After Raditz passed out on the technology star, he was used by the boss to strengthen the bloodline of the devil to 100%, so he has been recuperating in the cabin with the prince to calm down the side effects of ancestralization. Two bosses, I know. Can I tell? Behind him, the monster Buyuida asked the two in front of him with his hands in hand. Speak. I once heard Gu. The captain before said that there were also Saiyans in the history of Zuxing who were naturalized to reach 100% of the blood of the demons, but after his ancestralization, the Saku demons that he originally possessed can be the talent to store any Majin skill is also gone. Because the Sakuma are said to be the direct descendants of the union of Saiyans and Maki witches. Therefore, some people speculate that Saiyans become naturalized people, and after completing ancestralization they will return to the paternal line, that is, Saiyans, and lose their witch talents, while naturalized people of other races will be ancestralized to the matriarchy witch, and store the number closer to the talent of the Magi witch. Then, the Saiyan naturalized person committed suicide, because he felt that it was useless to join the demon, and he was sorry for his family. Quote. Whoosh. Piccolo dodged over the cabin. Boom! A magic light cannon hit below, and a group of demons dodged, directly destroying the spaceship behind them. Piccolo floated right in front of the two princes, touched his forehead, and laughed loudly. Wahaha! I thought the ancient demons would send something to fight me. It's actually you two Saiyans. Ha 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 ha. Just right, this time you guys come here and stay here forever. Son Gohan, Krillin and the others were shocked when they saw Prince Raditz and a group of demons together. When they remembered the words of the Earth demons, they immediately understood that the so-called New World Lords of the Earth were actually two Saiyas, Prince and Raditz. People. Everyone was even more surprised. At this time, when they saw Piccolo suddenly flashing in front of the demon and muttering, they were initially reluctant to participate, but then they thought that Piccolo was also from a demon tribe, and their hearts were slammed. It would be miserable to discuss what to conspire to unify the Earth. So, everyone bit the bullet and walked not far behind Piccolo. Sun Wukong laughed, and suddenly shouted at Piccolo. Uncle Bick, it's these guys who instigated those Earth demons to kill your clan. Your clan died so miserably that none of them survived. Hey, I don't believe it, you can still be with them now. Piccolo originally came to find the prince and others to settle accounts, and when he heard Son Gohan's meal, he was even more angry, his body exploded with arrogance, and the terrifying magic flame frightened the people of the Earth. Why do you want to fight? Then let me accompany you. Raditz patted the ash on his shoulder, clicked on Kelling and others, and clicked on the devil behind him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there is one more pet that doesn't count. 1, 2, 3, 4, there are only 4 here. Prince, do we want us to play against this group of Earthlings? My only interest is Kakarot. No matter how hard he tries now, he can't beat me. But I want to give him back the shame I once suffered, and the blood of this damn demon. The two bosses, and me, I can now split up 2 clones with the same strength as the main body to fight. Vegeta behind him was full of excitement, and 2 identical tall demons emerged from his body. The man giggled and said, Boss Raditz, let me be the first to go. I can always stand up and beat them to death. Raditz had seen Wiz's clone and knew that Bohion's bloodline was powerful. He responded to Vegeta with a sigh, then glanced at him, and clicked another Sakumo, saying, Just you, what talent do you have? When I came, I accidentally ate the meat of a bomb star, and it seemed to be stored. Okay, don't talk nonsense, give it to Lousy. Okay. The named Saku demon has a large open mouth, with long sharp fangs exposed directly to the stomach, and the fat belly can hold a child. He came out reluctantly, and went straight to surpass the Earthlings. Chapter 133, The Avengers. The Saku demon who was named sighed unluckily in his heart. Didn't the boss say that the 2 Saiyans were belligerent, so they didn't need to take action? That's why I deliberately obeyed the order and rushed over. As a result, I was able to save a bomber talent, and it was only the kind of self-destruction when I died. Stupid bomb star. No wonder they are made into popping candy, as a snack for those demons who like excitement. He walked tremblingly in front of the Earthlings, and suddenly saw that there was no breath on the other side. Thinking of the rumors of the Northern Galaxy Company about how weak the Earth was, he suddenly gained confidence and stood up and asked domineeringly. Hey, who of you are going to compete with me? I'm coming. Among the people on Earth, Tianjin Fan stood up first, and everyone next to him cast their eyes in anticipation, as if Tianjin Fan had already won this match. Seeing this, the Saku demon on the opposite side froze in his heart. He was about to try to tell the prince and others to withdraw from the war, but he caught a glimpse of Yucha. Ha ha ha, Lao Tzu's many years of fighting experience told me that with scars on the face, fights are slag. Hey, the 3-eyed guy, you're too white. You don't look like a powerful figure. Now, look, that guy with the scar on his face is so imposing. If I want to fight, I have to fight with such a person. When Yucha heard the demon on the other side point at him inexplicably, his face was stunned, and then he burst into laughter. It was this group of interstellar demons who thought about the universe and understood their greatness. Hey, big-mouthed fat devil, for the sake of your acquaintance, I'll keep your whole corpse later. Seeing Yinsha walking to the front and formally confronting the devil, Keelan breathed a sigh of relief, and sighed in a particularly cowardly manner. Fortunately, the devil saw Yinsha, but didn't see me. Anyway, I just don't have a nose. Nothing special. Everyone did not expect that the Saku seeds sown by the earth demons were triggered. Although most of the warriors were lucky to suppress the seeds, what they did not know was that the Saku seeds had unconsciously stimulated and amplified the evil in their hearts, and even unearthed the negative traits hidden deep in your genes. Like Son Gohan. It seems that it has changed the character. In fact, it is only the seeds that inspired the evil hidden in the Saiyan genes, and the demonic energy contaminated on the evil star. Far away. The god of destruction was sitting on the reclining chair, and a sly light flashed in his eyes when he saw that Yucha finally entered the dramatic moment. At a glance, he could see the combat effectiveness of Yucha at this time. After several battles to defend the earth, he had reached 3.1 million, far better than the 2.8 million Saku demons on the opposite side. But fight. Sometimes, it's not someone who has the final say with their fists. See if there will be any miraculous changes in Zero Victory Z Warriors tea drinking this time. The god of destruction had deep eyes and focused on the center of the battlefield. In the center of the venue, the audience spread out, leaving only the nervous devil and drinking tea to stand facing each other. Hey, Scarman, I'm more advanced than you on Earth, and I'm the boundary master on Mulan planet. This time I came to you, and I was personally assigned by the #1 person in our headquarters, so you have to be careful. It's easy to say, big-mouthed fat devil, I understand what you mean. After all, I was also the chief helmsman of 100 miles, so I naturally understand how much strength it takes to rule one side. Look at the big guys behind me. I have to rely on me to mediate disputes. Quote. If you think about it carefully, it makes sense to drink tea. He has indeed been a king of the mountain. As for whether he has a radius of hundreds of miles, he has to be careful. Then, if there are any contradictions or problems with the transmission of information among the warriors of the earth, it is indeed up to him to solve it at first. It's just that after drinking tea, the Saku demon on the opposite side became more and more nervous. He was extremely nervous, but he didn't dare to step back. Yinsha saw him swooping towards him, a cloud hand, and then he used his long-cherished wolf-toothed sharp fist. Hee, people on Earth don't know goods. They say that this trick is too vain, and I finally meet someone who knows goods, so naturally I want to show this cosmic devil. The big-mouthed devil saw the phantom of the wolf's teeth fluttering in front of him, and his nervous nerves became more abnormal. He was hit in the face by the heavy punch hidden behind the phantom by drinking tea. Tea came. Yucha hurriedly punched him. Boom. Yucha was blown back a few meters inexplicably. The big-mouthed devil was secretly annoyed that he had chosen the wrong stubble, but he was stunned as his teeth hit Yucha's fist and exploded like a bomb. Originally, the big-mouthed demon, as the master of the Mulan Star Demon realm, was rich in resources. Coupled with his gluttony nature, he naturally had to taste any game. Later, he eyed the bomb star again and caught one himself. At this time, I recalled the introduction of the Diet Weekly, which wrote that the bomb star is the raw material of the North Galaxy specialty jumping candy, and especially pointed out that the bomb star's talent is not only suicide bombing. In fact, the talent of the bomb star follows the conservation of cosmic energy. Simply put, it means that you can get as much energy explosion as you consume as much flesh and blood. Naturally, suicide explosions at the cost of life are the most damaging. And some bombers pick their nostrils, pull out their hair, and cut their nails as their specialty skills. Mother, but these few, I don't have them. The big-mouthed demon couldn't help regretting that he was too clean for the sake of food. Suddenly, the big-mouthed devil looked down and saw the blood flowing from his shabby teeth, dripping on the ground. Boom. Bang bang bang. The big-mouthed devil was in a hurry, and quickly squeezed out blood and fired it towards drinking tea. He was frightened by the cheap punch of the wolf fangs who drank the tea just now, and he admitted that he was not the arrogant tea-drinking opponent in front of him. Bang bang bang. The big-mouth demon became more and more proficient at throwing bombs and had a great time. Drinking tea was dodging around in confusion, staring fiercely at the big-mouthed demon, and at once completely understood what was going on with the inexplicable bombing just now. Ah, there's no blood. The big-mouthed devil threw it so hard that the wound in the tooth hole didn't bleed, and he was decisive enough to bite his middle finger and bleed out blood. In fact, it was mainly because he, as a planet demon master, relied too much on Saku's talent, and always temporarily stored powerful skills. When he changed to a strange and weaker one without knowing it, he cowardly hesitated and dared not fight hand to hand. After all, what is the loss of a little blood compared to a small life? Here, Yin-Cha grabbed the big-mouth demon and changed his blood to neutralize. He bullied himself to him, and used all his strength to punch. Bang! The big-mouthed devil was directly smashed into a deep hole by the fist of drinking tea. Motherfucker, it's really annoying. Forget it, I'm honest, I'll leave you a whole corpse. Seeing that the devil was knocked down by himself, Yucha turned around triumphantly and looked at Kaylin and the others. Not good, drink tea, be careful. Standing in the side corner, Klein shouted anxiously when he saw the lying demon suddenly shrink into a flesh ball and cling to Yucha's back. Hey, is it finally here? A classic Yum-Cha party. Chapter 134, You Didn't Say It Sooner. Goku's Whereabouts. When Yucha heard Keelan's eager shout, he hurriedly looked back. Not good, people are gone. The empty dirt pit, like a tomb, beckons towards drinking tea, which is particularly ironic. Boom. Yucha finally found the meatball that the devil turned into behind him, and fell to the ground with a look of horror. The flesh and blood of the big-mouthed demon filled the air. And Yucha also gave his life, fell to the ground and lay down peacefully in the dirt pit, as if he was just sleeping. Cut, it's boring. Weiss, let's go, let's find the pig's foot Sun Wukong of the incident. The god of destruction stretched out in the tent, sat up, and said to Wes with a dull look on his face. Ho ha ho ho, the god of destruction is so humorous, how could Sun Wukong be a pig's foot? Shouldn't it be a monkey's foot or a gorilla's foot? Wes put his hand on Wes and sighed in his heart that the god of destruction had been obsessed with cultivation recently, and even lacked common sense in life, and then lightly stroked the tin stick. The two disappeared. Because the breath of God cannot be perceived by ordinary mortals, from the beginning to the end, the devils who came later, such as Piccolo, Prince and Raditz, did not know the arrival of the god of destruction and Whis, and they also had no way of knowing when they came. Left. King of the North. On the Bear Planet, the king of the Northern Realm was furious when he saw Sun Wukong. His body was covered in red flames, and his eyes became cold. Is it the limit? I didn't expect that this kid actually did it. Now it has been 12 times. According to this kid's 6.3 million combat power in his normal state, he will have more than 70 million when he uses the King Fist of the world. It's so scary, so scary. Whoosh. Sun Wukong was exhausted, unable to support it, and collapsed on the ground to rest. Seeing this, the king of the Northern Realm looked relieved. After all, I haven't had such a powerful descendant for a long time, and it was introduced by the god of destruction. When the time comes, the lord of the god of destruction may be able to discover my greatness, and suddenly said. Wukong, have you memorized the essentials of the vitality bomb? Well, Lord Realm, you are amazing, but I just don't understand why your own combat power is a little low. Cough cough. What do you know, as the king of the Northern Galaxy? What I need to consider is more about the welfare of the people under my jurisdiction, and what else can solve people's livelihood problems better than building houses and making clothes. Besides, it is enough for me to have Zhuangquan and vitality bombs as the signboards at the bottom of the box. Oh, Sun Wukong nodded speciously. Right, seeing that you have worked so hard and accomplished my goals ahead of time, let me tell you good news. I told you before that the Saiyans brought the demons to Earth for a month. In order to let you train well, I lied to you. Quote. Huh, Then the prince and Raditz won't go to Earth. Monkey King said with a lost face. You're not happy anymore. According to the speed of a normal spaceship, it will take 2 months to reach the Earth from the technology star. In order to force you to step up training, I deliberately said it was a month, but you kid, it's very good. I learned the skills of pressing the bottom of the box in 10 days. Ha 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 ha, or the king of the realm has a good teaching, right, Boblas, Gregly. Staring at the monkeys and grasshoppers around him. Lord Northern Realm King, please help me find out where those 2 Saiyans are. Goku said with anticipation in his voice. Okay, let me show you. The king of the Northern Realm looked at Sun Wukong's eager eyes, his mouth loosened, and he quickly put up his tentacles and explored the information toward the Milky Way galaxy. Not good. Wukong, the spacecraft of the Northern Galaxy Company seems to be more developed than I thought, and the 2 Saiyans have already arrived on the Earth. The king of the Northern Realm twitched his eyelids and said to Sun Wukong with a face full of embarrassment. Then Lord Northern Realm King, hurry up and teleport with me. Sun Wukong jumped up anxiously when he heard the words of the Northern Realm King, thinking of the ferocity of the prince and Raditz. I won't. The king of the Northern Realm bent down and planted his head under his body, and said dejectedly. What to do, what to do? Why can't the god of destruction come over? How can I go back to Earth? Sun Wukong stomped his feet anxiously on the ground. It's easy to go back. Just jump on the long dragon corridor. The corridor leads directly to the underworld, and you can return to the Earth. Before the king of the Northern Realm could finish speaking, Sun Wukong took off his new suit and jumped straight up the long corridor. Wukong, don't worry, you'll be here in less than an hour at your current speed. Also, don't fall off the tunnel. The voice of the king of the Northern Realm came lingeringly. Before he heard the message from the Northern Realm King, Sun Wukong burst out the red Zhuang fist, slammed his feet on the floor, and flew out of the corridor with force. Lord Realm, why didn't you say it earlier? PFF'd. Sun Wukong fell straight to the yellow spring and was engulfed. At the same time. Whoosh. A light and shadow flashed. The god of destruction and Whis descended on the bare Northern Realm. Wow, Lord Northern Realm King, I remember that your planet was not full of high-rise buildings before, especially one of them you filled with those beautiful suits, but unfortunately it's not the style of the Loon family. Ho ha ho ho, the Loon family still thinks about it. Look at the god of destruction wearing the suit you made. Weiss covered his mouth and laughed. Angel Weiss, the suits may not be available for a while, they are all wrinkled. Hey, I have carefully kept them for so many years. The king of the Northern Realm remembered the suit that was destroyed by Wukong, and the more he talked, the more sad he became. He suddenly saw the god of destruction beside him, and his heart was so disturbed that he stopped talking. King of the Northern Realm, you're doing fine now. What do people who fight all the time look like in suits? Also, it's not bad that your planet is bare, it's much more pleasing to the eye than before. You can drive the car around again if you don't have to. It's great to go for a drive around and not get stuck in traffic. The god of destruction glanced around and said slowly. God of destruction, not everyone is a fighting maniac like you. Weiss said beside him. Hee, isn't it Sun Wukong? By the way, the king of the Northern Realm, isn't Sun Wukong training here with you? What about people now? The god of destruction suddenly remembered the purpose of this, and suddenly asked the king of the Northern Realm. The king of the Northern Realm was suddenly asked, thinking that Sun Wukong had just fallen into the yellow spring and his whereabouts were unknown, and he suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. Lord God of Destruction, Sun Wukong just fell into the yellow spring above. I might not be able to find it for a while. Hee, I still want to come directly and take Sun Wukong to the Earth, and then I will arrive at the battlefield earlier than in the original book. Maybe the future development will be different. Result. In the long stream of history, personal power is like a small gravel, which is swallowed up in one fell swoop. Facing the turbulent river, it has no effect at all. The god of destruction touched his chin, pondered for a while, and then said to Weiss. Come on, back to Earth. Chapter 135 Proud Piccolo. Earth. The battlefield has changed. Krillin and the monster Buu. Hey, no-nosed star, I've long disliked you. The monster named Buu shouted at Kaylin on the other side with an angry expression. I asked Boss Raditz to be the first one to kill you. Do you know why I want to kill you? Because a person without a nose is a scourge. If you keep you, sooner or later, you will also scourge beautiful women. Damn, I was on Zuxing just for the sake of my crush. The witch who has been around for a long time, duel with the boho demon without a nose, and now I come to Earth, and I meet a noseless person like you say Lao Su. Out of breath. Ha ha, you've got the wrong person. I don't know any witches, and I'm not a fiend, and I won't harm any beauties. I've been single for over 20 years. Keelan, who was urged to be more and more timid and afraid of death by the seeds of Saku, shook his head and said timidly. Damn, you have the same virtue as that kooky, but Melina likes it like this, and what to say is soft and cute, so cute, as soon as I see it, the mother's love is overflowing and I can't pull my legs. It's not that I am forcing the duel. He joined the propaganda team early and ran away. After Buu finished speaking, he separated two more clones and stood in a circle around Kaylin, eyeing them, and continued. So, I won't let you go this time. As soon as the words fell, Buu's three bodies called towards Kaylin. Bang bang bang. The fists and feet are added together, and the tigers are windy. Although Kaylin's character has become more timid, the basic skills left by his years of hard work are still there. In the face of the three demons, he has not lost the slightest, and his defense is tight and flawless. Hey, no-nosed Starman, his reaction is very fast. Try this trick. After finishing speaking, Buu's three bodies spit out a violent white laser from his mouth and shot at Kaylin, who was surrounded by the center. Clint flew up and immediately hit the ground with a tortoise-style Qigong wave. How to do? With so many clones, one is more difficult to deal with. If I knew it earlier, I wouldn't play. But only I am the closest to drinking tea, and no one can stop the devil from eating his corpse in the first place. Keelan's thoughts turned around, and the chi energy of the turtle Qigong wave suddenly rebounded to the sky. At this time, Buu was carrying two clones, chasing after him in a vortex. Krillin looked down. Great opportunity. Sun punch. The intense light pierced into the eyes of all Buu's clones. Keelan immediately flashed to the ground, holding up a sharp energy wave that slowly condensed into the size of a disc in his hand, and flew towards Buu. Air cut. All or nothing. If not, I can't do it. Keelan watched eagerly as Chi Yuanzhan flew towards Buu's three bodies, and with a swish, rushed towards Buu, who had not yet slowed down. When Buu suddenly saw the Chi Yuan slash coming towards him, he was startled, and he was unavoidable. He hurriedly pulled a clone and kicked it in the direction of Chi Yuan slash. Swish. Chi Yuan slashed and smashed Buu's avatar. His momentum was not damaged at all, and he flew straight into the distance. Woo-hoo-hoo. So close. Buu's heart skipped a beat. Looking at Kaylin, who was full of disappointment and frustration, he couldn't help but sneer. Ha ha, I will never forgive you if you dare to let me suffer such a big loss. Puff. Idiot. The prince glanced at Buu, who was turned by the Chi Yuanzhan to be slaughtered into powder, with a look of contempt, and then directed at the other Saku demons behind him, and ordered. Come on with you guys. Use all your skills and don't embarrass me anymore. Immediately, two more Saku demons walked out and entered the center of the field. I saw that one of them suddenly gigantic, and the figure skyrocketed, and the other was so steep that it turned into a human-shaped spider, and a huge web was formed in the air. It should be their ability to devour storage has changed. The warriors of the earth were waiting to move forward. Piccolo flashed forward and glanced at them with vicious eyes. This is a matter of our demon world, you humans should not interfere. Okay, Uncle Piccolo is the best, it's not a problem to kill two little scumbags. Those two Saiyans are definitely not your opponents. Son Gohan's childish voice sounded immediately after Piccolo's words. The Earth Warrior then stepped back, stood aside, and waited. Are you the realm master of Earth's pseudo-realm? The devil in the shape of a humanoid spider stared at the magical flames gushing out of Piccolo and asked. Only D-level planets like Earth will allow the pseudo-world to continue to exist. Hee, I don't have time to talk to the little bastards, you die for me. As soon as Piccolo finished speaking, he went straight to attack the humanoid spider monster, and the humanoid spider immediately spit out a dense white spider web at him. Piccolo opened his mouth and spurted out magical flames, instantly dissolving the spider web, deceiving himself in front of the humanoid spider, and lightly pointing at his chest. Puff! The magic light penetrated directly through the chest of the humanoid spider and fell to the ground with a bang, and the dead can no longer die. Suddenly, there was a heat wave in the air. Boom! The gigantic Saku slammed his fists together and slammed towards Piccolo's head. Piccolo remained motionless, the corners of his eyes froze, his whole body burst into vigor, and he grabbed the arm of the giant demon with one hand, and pinched 10 nails into it deeply. Boom! Piccolo fell over his shoulder with his left hand and fell to the giant devil. Bang bang bang! His right hand hurriedly punched the demon lying on the ground. Puff! Blood dripped from the huge devil. With force to force, the front is hard. Bic wins. Okay, the appetizers are over, and the little guys are out. Piccolo closed the cloak behind him, circled his neck, and calmly said to Raditz and the prince. Next, which of you two will challenge me first? Hee. Hearing this, Raditz sneered, and stood there looking coldly at Piccolo with the white cloak floating, but the magic flame on his body gradually stabilized. I'm so proud of killing a few scumbags. Judging from your aura just now, it's only 10 million combat power. What about now? When Piccolo heard Raditz's words, he immediately shivered, and his energy surged frantically, causing the Earth Warriors next to him to retreat 100 meters. Hee, I forgot that you guys on Earth are the most hidden. However, it's only 30 million. Hey, it's not as good as Gouda. Raditz said indifferently, never looking at Piccolo again. Cut, do you have one? Shit Saiyan. After Piccolo finished speaking, he violently threw a laser cannon at Raditz. Suddenly, Raditz's eyes were cold, and the magic flames all over his body danced wildly again, like a living creature, swallowing the light run that Piccolo attacked. Look, the mob chops, no more, no less, 60 million. Piccolo's face froze, and he quickly stepped back. He felt that Raditz's fighting power was doubled up close. It was too terrifying. The proud Piccolo also had to step back strategically. Boom! Raditz pointed at Piccolo lightly, and a wave of light hit him in an instant. Piccolo is unavoidable and very dangerous. Chapter 136, Wangquan Ancient Road. Hell! Go down the long dragon corridor. The ancient road of Wangquan that has existed since the opening of the 7th universe flows. Most of the people who stepped out of the underworld from the long corridor were fake dead people who could not die. And those who fell down the corridor were mostly dead souls who wanted to live but couldn't live. At this time, Sun Wukong fell into the space surrounded by thousands of dead souls. He scratched his head, thinking that the two Saiyans, the prince and Raditz, had arrived on Earth, and he was very anxious. But every time Sun Wukong wanted to free his body and fly back to the upper passage, he was pulled back by countless ghosts with his hands stretched out, and he couldn't move. Best of luck. Therefore, Sun Wukong had no choice but to go with the flow, following the long dragon of walking dead composed of thousands of dead ghosts. He suddenly sensed countless strange and familiar auras suddenly appearing in the team behind him, but he couldn't remember who it was. Suddenly, as if they came to a city, all the souls in the team immediately scattered, and seemed to regain their senses. Sun Wukong was bored and wandered around. Although he was anxious to return to Earth, he was so unfamiliar right now that there was nothing he could do. He walked and walked until he came to a dilapidated house. There was a huge shell at the door, and a rough voice kept playing inside. Walking by, don't miss it. This shop knows astronomy and geography, counts. 500 years before and after the quasi-person. Quote. Sun Wukong looked strange, glanced into the room, and saw an alien with a huge body lying in the room with an old age. In the pitch-dark room, the eyes of the two of them just met. The old alien sat up abruptly, stuck his head out, and shouted at Sun Wukong. Hey, young man, don't go, I think you have a fate with me. Sun Wukong touched his head, aggrieved like a 200-pound fat man, and said. Old man, speaking in human language, I don't understand what you are saying. I am not Abu, with such an elf brain. The giant alien moved his entire body out and said slowly to Sun Wukong. I'm sorry, there have been a lot of novel writers among our clients recently, and after staying with them for a long time, they got some stinky problems. After he finished speaking, he stayed still, staring at Sun Wukong intently. Silent for a long time. Just when Sun Wukong was embarrassed to get up to leave, he said. Monkey King, you will have a fierce battle shortly after, and then you will pass by my Adetra. Huh, old man, how do you know my name is Sun Wukong, and you know that I'm going back to fight? Then do you have a way to send me back to Earth? Oh, you are from the Earth, but it seems to be of Saiyan blood. Forget it, don't worry about it. Since you want to leave, I will give you what you will get sooner or later, and I will give it to you now. After he finished speaking, he pointed his finger at Sun Wukong little by little, and a wave of fluctuations entered Sun Wukong's mind. In the future, when you see me from Adetra, please be sure to tell them that what I said before was wrong. When encountering an immortal, you must hold your thighs tightly and don't let them go. Oh, it's simple. If I really go to the Terra star you said, I will definitely bring it to you. Then who are you? It's been too long. I only remember that I was the wise man who was the ancestor of the Adelaide people. Later, people here called me the ancestor of Bodhi. Oh, then I'll call you Patriarch too. What did you pass on to my mind? Space skills, teleportation, can help you leave. Then old ancestor, why didn't you leave? I have waited too long for my clansmen, and accumulated more and more grievances. I can only be trapped here to help others to vent their grievances and get relief. Yeah, it's too complicated. I'm sorry, old ancestor, I can't help you. It doesn't matter, you learn to teleport, and sooner or later you will be able to go out. You are different from us, you are a living person, and the ancient road of Wangquan cannot forbid you to go out. Oh. Sun Wukong hid aside, looked at the picture in his mind, and learned to teleport. But teleportation was originally difficult to learn, plus Wukong was irritable and anxious, and there were constant ghosts around him. Sun Wukong fell to the ground at once, then crossed his hands, stood up and walked away. Old ancestor, I don't learn this anymore. It's too difficult to help me out. I have to hurry up and find another way. You can live a good life by yourself. In fact, Sun Wukong didn't know that a few days later, at the time of life and death, Sun Wukong suddenly felt empty in his heart, blessed with the soul, and realized teleportation. Because this move was directly passed on to him by the ancestor of the Adetra star, the first thing he sensed when he cast it for the first time was the breath from the Adetra star. Then, he moved in an instant and escaped the catastrophe. At this time, Sun Wukong walked straight, and soon came to a river, and a stone tablet stood by the river, writing on the Wangchuan River. He stared at the blackened river surface, unable to stop in a daze, sat on the ground and touched his head, very anxious. Suddenly, a bubble burst out from the river, and inside the bubble was a big dark gray fish. Hey, stranger, do you need a ferry? I can open the door for you. The door of convenience. Is it possible to return to Earth? Hearing that, Sun Wukong felt the hope of going back, jumped up, and asked the fish quickly. Well, yes, but you need to enter my bubble, and if you want to return to the world of the living, You must have deep luck skills and a lot of chi to maintain the whereabouts of the bubble without breaking it. What is that? To put it simply, if you want to return to your original Earth, you have to enter my bubble, and the bubble cannot be broken, otherwise you will be instantly corroded by the water of the Wangchuan River, and you will not even have a soul. Hey, do you still want to come? Yeah, anyway, I'm among the dead right now. It doesn't make any difference if I have a soul or not. I'll come in. After that, Sun Wukong was about to get into the huge bubble of gray fish. Idiot, wait a minute. You're going to kill me. After a while, Sun Wukong was brought into the bubble by the gray fish, and manipulated the bubble to sink according to the method mentioned by the latter. When it comes to using chi skills, Sun Wukong's head suddenly brightened, and he can manipulate the bubbles with ease, and the huge chi supports the thickness of the bubbles, even if a storm hits. Hey, big fish, what's your name? Bruno. Oh, Bruno, what are you doing here? I was punished by the King of Hell. I have to be a ferryman in the Wangchuan River. Only after sending 100 dead can I be resurrected. And you happen to be the 99th. Moment. Sun Wukong's bubble sank to the bottom of the sea, only to see a bright door open on the bottom of the sea. Okay, the gate of rebirth is here, you can be resurrected. After finishing speaking, Bruno spit out another bubble to wrap Sun Wukong, and then pushed it gently. The bubble on Sun Wukong's body slowly protruded, squeezed out a big bubble, and rushed towards the open door. Sun Wukong smiled and said to Bruno. Thank you, Bruno. By the way, what would you do if you were resurrected? Puff. Monkey King's bubble passed through the bright gate of rebirth. A long voice came from behind. I'm resurrected, and I'm going to find a flounder named Luffy to settle the account. He beat me up, and I want to pay him back. Chapter 137, Piccolo died. Gohan runaway. Earth. Raditz charged violently with a laser. Piccolo was unavoidable, and he was about to hang up. Suddenly, Son Gohan rushed forward with a strong wind, and flicked Raditz's laser with one hand. Huh, who is this kid? He also has a tail behind him. Could it be Kakarot's son? Raditz stared hard at the little Son Gohan standing in front of Piccolo, and asked suspiciously. Boy, is your father Kakarot? Well, Uncle Raditz, my father is Sun Wukong, your brother. Sun Wufan responded very obediently. Piccolo next to him heard his answer and scolded. Idiot, what kind of affection do you think these Saiyans will talk to you? ... Also, does I need your help? Have a finger in the pie. Uncle Beck, don't say that, you have time to scold me, why don't you think of a way to deal with Raditz and the prince behind? Sun Wufan rolled his eyes and said contemptuously. Hee, young master, I won't save you, you are dead, where can I find such a competent nanny? Sun Wufan apparently recalled the memory of Piccolo showing mercy to his subordinates on the Demon Star, and said in his heart. Forget it, just think that I owe you this kid a life, and I will pay it back sooner or later. Piccolo stared at Raditz and muttered. On the opposite side, Raditz heard the two muttering, and couldn't help but get angry, and shouted at Son Gohan. Little nephew, the explosive power is good. It's a pity that your uncle and I are now demons, and have long been incompatible with you earthlings. Boom. Another dazzling laser shot from Raditz. Piccolo pushed Son Gohan away, holding his chest against the light wave with both hands. Hey, Namex bugs, that's all. After speaking, Raditz added a little more force, forcing Piccolo to sweat dripping from his forehead. Uncle Keelan, Uncle Tianjin Fan, let's all go together. Otherwise, Uncle Bick dies, and we won't be better off. Sun Wufan's soft and cute voice rang in the ears of the Earth warriors behind him, but he himself took the lead, rushing behind Raditz, punching him violently, and being thrown away by Raditz with a disdainful hand. Seeing this scene, the rest of the soldiers moved forward to besiege Raditz. Keelan stood to store his chi, and slowly condensed his chi yuan slash. Tianjin Fan stood in the air, aiming his hands at Raditz, posing as a qigong cannon. The strength of the laser wave in Raditz's hand was unabated, and he glanced at the Earth Warrior, smiled disdainfully, and said, "Prince, these little bugs, leave them all to me as an appetizer." The prince sat on the stump of dead wood, shrugged his shoulders, and said contemptuously, "Whatever you want, but Kakarot is mine alone. As for these guys, it's better to leave Kakarot to come over and let him see himself with his own eyes. The miserable appearance of my son's friend dying in front of me. Ha ha, the ghost knows where my brother is hiding." As soon as Raditz's voice fell, Keelan's Qi Yuan Slash and Tianjin Fan's Qi Gong Cannon instantly arrived. Qi Yuan Slash, Qi Gong Cannon. Hee, the feeling of being an ancestor of a demon is really good. I saw that the two attacks of the Earth Warriors stuck to the magic flame radiating from Raditz's body, and suddenly stopped. Taking advantage of this moment, Raditz slammed out the laser wave in his hand, blasting Piccolo, and then immediately jumped away. Boom! The Qi Yuan Slash and the Qi Gong Cannon smashed straight to the ground, causing the sky to be filled with dust. Immediately afterwards, Raditz flashed to Tianjin Fan in midair, raised his knife and dropped it. Die! Boom! Tianjin Rice smashed into the ground in an instant, blasting a 100-meter hole. Tianjin. Dumplings came to Tianjin Fan from the rear in an instant, reached out to touch it, and died of breath. Bastard! I want you to die. At this moment, Kaylin rushed in front of Raditz. Mother, Tianjin Fan is dead, and I will definitely not live. Wukong, how long will it take for you to arrive? Dumplings, run, you are not his opponent. After finishing speaking, Krillin faced Raditz with a face full of contempt, punched the sun, and then hid behind a stone. At this moment, Dumpling rushed into the light curtain, and hugged Raditz tightly with both hands folded. Tianjin, I'm here to accompany you. I want to avenge Tianjin. Die. Boom. A loud bang. Raditz stood in the dust filled with embarrassment, grinned at Piccolo in the distance, and teased. The bugs of Namek, do you think the same trick will work for me? It turned out that the moment Dumpling hugged Raditz and prepared to explode, Raditz's magic flame suddenly soared. Dumpling's head suddenly became dizzy and stagnant, and Raditz grabbed him back and grabbed his body. Suddenly, a laser shot came, and it was Piccolo who climbed up and aimed at the magic-penetrating light-killing cannon shot by Raditz. Raditz threw it casually and threw Dumpling's body into the air, facing Bix's magic bullet. Hee, Raditz, a low-level warrior, can actually reach this point. It's a pity that he has no fighting power, but has no brains of an elite warrior. He is destined to be just a stupid demon lackey. The prince glanced at him, saw Raditz's embarrassed appearance, and said lightly. Ho ho ho, Lord God of Destruction, although the fighting power of the Earthlings has risen, it seems that the combat skills are still in the primitive stage, too immature and clumsy. It seems that the Lord of God of Destruction still has a long way to teach. Weiss squeezed the tin cane, covering his mouth and chuckling. Cut, what do the Earthlings have to do with Lao Su, anyway? No matter how these two demonized Saiyans jump around, it's just a matter of Lao Su's fingernails being destroyed. The God of Destruction returned to his original tent and watched the battlefield leisurely. At this time, Piccolo unleashed a magic bullet, his aura weakened, and he gasped for breath while leaning on his body with one hand. He glanced back and saw Sun Wukong hiding in the corner and kept gathering energy into a dazzling ball of light. Humph. No matter how powerful the combat power is, he is only the son of a human being. When he encounters a real fight, he cowardly hides to the side. Piccolo spat in disdain. Bah, what a shame, I actually thought of relying on a child to solve the battle. Ha 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 ha, my devilish heart. ... No, this kid's ball of light seems to have been seen before. Piccolo suddenly remembered that when Sun Wukong was transformed into a giant ape, he had seen this light ball that stimulated Sun Wukong to become a gorilla. It is so, this kid is very scheming, hiding here alone and holding back his big move. Piccolo realized his mistake, grinned, and moved slowly in front of Sun Gohan to block the light. At this moment, the prince suddenly felt a strong anger about to burst out, his eyes swept over quickly, and he shouted. No, Raditz! Kakarot's son is condensing Bruise's rays and transforming into a giant ape. Kill him now. Chapter 138. The Return of Sun Wukong. Whoosh! Raditz sank into the air and hurriedly used all his strength to shoot an energy wave. Piccolo turned his head and glanced, and saw that Sun Wuhan, whose eyes were furious, was completely unaware of the danger coming. He smiled miserably. For the sake of your master's gravity field, and for the life you saved Lao Su will pay you back. Boom. A body shattered. Piccolo is dead. Earth. Skyline. The old god who looked exactly like Piccolo was leaning on crutches, his figure became blurred, and he said in a low voice to the black servant beside him. Goodbye, Mr. Bobo, thank you for taking care of me all the time. Whoosh. The gods disappeared, and the Dragon Balls turned to stone. Boom boom boom. Son Gohan, who became a gorilla, was in chaos in his heart, only vaguely knowing that the person he cared about died, and he died for himself. Probably a good nanny died. A thought flashed through his mind. Ah! Sun Wufan's head suddenly swelled, and he roared loudly. His body, which was hundreds of times larger, was like a moving mountain, sweeping around. Raditz, you go get his attention, I'll cut his tail off. The prince stood up, made a gesture towards Raditz, flew into the air and stared at Son Gohan, and spat softly. Cut, such a mixed race boy actually knows about giant ape transformation. It seems that I gave Kakarot a good lesson last time. It's a pity that he didn't tell his son the key points. Whoosh. A laser cannon shot at the mountain-sized Son Gohan, shooting straight into his eyes. Raditz stood in the distance, her hair fluttering wildly with the magic flame, and said mockingly. Boy, as expected of my nephew, turning into a giant ape has the power to threaten Lao Su. Come on, kill Lao Su, or Lao Su will kill all of you Earthlings. The Monkey King who turned into a gorilla was completely delirious. He obviously inherited the confused characteristics of his father, Sun Wukong, but he felt the ridicule from Raditz, and the corner of his huge mouth turned up and rushed straight. Hey, idiot! Seeing this, Raditz smiled contemptuously, and while throwing the laser cannon behind him, he ran around, leading Son Gohan to the foot of a high mountain. There. The prince stood against the wind. He folded his arms and looked down at the huge Son Gohan who was chasing Raditz at the foot of the mountain, and was slowly coming towards him. A big golden tail seemed to be dangling in front of his eyes. Haha, it's hard for me, as a prince of demons, to be able to have such a leisurely kung fu, waiting for the idiots to take the bait. Good chance. A big tail overturned the mountain where the prince was. The prince slammed his toes on the ground, swooped down from the mountain, and headed straight for Son Gohan's huge tail. Whoosh. Loud breaking sound. A sharp light cake in the shape of a round cake shot straight at the prince. Hee hee, little bald head. The prince grabbed Sun Wufan's tail and swung his body into the sky. Chi Yuan smashed into the air and flew away in a straight line behind the prince. Hey, come back, right. The prince smiled in the direction of Keelan, who was already exposed, and shot a laser cannon at Sun Wuhan's tail. As expected, Chi Yuan Zan flew back in a swish, abandoning the prince's body and flying towards the laser cannon he fired. Puff. Not good. Krillin exclaimed, watching Sun Wufan's tail cut off by himself, and then suddenly became its original size and collapsed to the ground. Smelly bald head, I don't want to live. Raditz flashed to Krillin's side and pinched the latter's neck. At the same time, after Sun Wukong walked out of the ancient road of Wangquan with the help of Bruno, he instantly returned to a dark place on the earth. Before he was happy and finally returned to earth, he saw Sun Wukong's expression stunned, and he said in a low voice with a solemn expression, Oops, what's going on? Piccolo, Tianjin Fan, and Dumpling's anger. How could it be? Will disappear. Sun Wukong looked very shocked, and kept muttering in his heart, there are still two such evil spirits. It should be the returned Raditz and the prince, and the two of them have actually become the same demons as Piccolo. After Goku's careful experience, only Vegeta, Son Gohan, Krillin and Raditz are left here. He did not sense Whis and the God of Destruction at this time. Because the latter two are high-level gods, it is impossible for mortals to perceive them without actively releasing their breath. Wukong froze in place and said, "Ah, why?" In fact, he already had a guess in his heart. Whoosh! A light flashed by. Suddenly a person appeared beside Cao Wukong and said, "Mr. Sun Wukong, come with me quickly, the Devil Prince has hit the earth again." This person is the angel Whis who was sent by the God of Destruction. When Sun Wukong returned to the earth, the two gods of destruction sensed the chi of Sun Wukong. Then, the God of Destruction was eager to see the climax of the battle, so he ordered Whis to teleport over to pick up Sun Wukong. In fact, when Sun Wukong was on the ancient road of Wangquan, the God of Destruction and Whis could find his chi as long as they carefully examined it. But because there were too many dead souls on the ancient road of Wangquan, the God of Destruction felt unlucky, and at the same time sighed that his fate was dictated by his fate, so he didn't pay much attention to Sun Wukong and let him come back by himself. Unexpectedly, this delay was several hours after the prince and the others arrived on Earth. "Let's go, Mr. Sun Wukong, don't let the God of Destruction wait." "Ho-ho, the God of Destruction, it may tear you apart." Whis grabbed the deep-faced Monkey King, and with a light stroke of the tin stick, disappeared instantly. Whoosh! A light and shadow flashed. Whis took Sun Wukong back to the God of Destruction in an instant. "Oh, it's here." The God of Destruction lay in the tent, blowing dandelions, and said viciously, "If you walk all the way, you can fall. I'm really ashamed of your life. Go to Lao Su. Lao Su's apprentice is dead, and your whole family. No, the whole earth will be destroyed." "Ah, Lord God of Destruction, there is no need to be so fierce, I will definitely save my son." After Sun Wukong finished speaking, he stared sharply at Raditz and the prince not far away, only to see the two of them covered in demonic flames, rushing into the sky. It turns out that it really turned into a demon, Prince, and Raditz. He actually killed Piccolo. "I don't even have the Dragon Ball anymore. I won't let you go this time." As soon as the words fell, Sun Wukong moved violently, flashed to the side of Raditz, who was full of shock, banged Raditz, rescued the dying Keelan from his hands, and then sent a burst of energy to him. "Are you all right, Krillin?" "Wukong, you're finally here. I'm sorry, I wasn't of much help." Asterisk. Chapter 139, Killing Raditz. "It doesn't matter, Krillin, go and pull Gohan over. I'll face the next thing alone." "Yo, my brother," the inferior warrior Kakarot finally stopped being a tortoise, and is willing to stand up. Raditz got up, patted the dust on his body, and mocked Sun Wukong with a relaxed expression. "Idiot, can't you see that Kakarot has far surpassed himself, even to my level?" The prince looked at Sun Wukong, who was covered in red light, with a look of surprise, and kept scolding Raditz for his slow response, because only he could see that the super combat power that Sun Wukong burst out the moment he knocked Raditz away was true. How amazing! Sun Wukong took Sun Wufan, who was dragged back by Keilin, touched his smooth ass, and gently transmitted a burst of energy into his body. "Good boy, rest well." Afterwards, Sun Wukong called Somersault Cloud and gently placed the sleeping Sun Wufan on it. Bang! Sun Wufan actually fell directly to the ground, making a loud noise. He woke up suddenly, opened his big bright eyes and looked at Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong watched all this happen inexplicably, then smiled awkwardly at Sun Wufan, who was stunned, and said to him, "Gohan, I'm sorry, Dad is late, you and Keelan hide in the back, this is the two devils are handed over to Dad to deal with." Hearing this, Sun Wufan shrugged his nose and sobbed, "Dad, why are you here so late? Tianjin rice and dumplings are dead. Uncle Bick seems to have died for me. Well, I'll avenge them." Sun Wukong patted his son on the shoulder, motioned to Keilin to hide him with him, and then stood up and stared at Raditz, who was full of disdain. You two will never change, and I don't know why you turned into demons, but I will definitely not let you go today. Sun Wukong said sharply. Che, Kakarot, you really have the same virtue as Dad, and you always speak up. Raditz spat on the ground, then bullied himself to the side of Sun Wukong. Raditz has so many loopholes. Boom. Sun Wukong couldn't let a hand knife slash at Raditz's waist at the speed of light. Raditz's robe-like magic flame suddenly disappeared, and the whole person was blasted out. Ah, what's going on? How did I get blasted out? Kakarot didn't do it. He watched in astonishment as he was blasted out for no reason. He didn't see Sun Wukong's offensive at all, and then he quickly stopped in the air, pointed his toes, and charged towards the Sun Wukong below. Hey, brother, you are too slow. Whoosh. Sun Wukong suddenly flashed from the ground to the top of Raditz in midair. Boom boom boom. Raditz saw the situation, and his breath soared in an instant, and the magic flame swept across Sun Wukong's body recklessly. It's so itchy, so itchy. Actually useless. What happened to Kakarot? He was completely unaffected by the magic flame. Boom. Sun Wukong clasped his fists in the air and smashed hard at Raditz. Raditz, stay aside and repent. No, I don't want to. It's hard for me to get to where I am now. I finally fulfilled my father's last wish, from a low-level warrior to an elite warrior comparable to a Saiyan prince. For the sake of fighting power, I can join the demon race, so I don't want to die here. Die at the hands of Kakarot. My 60 million combat power. Raditz kept thinking in his heart, and was knocked unconscious by the force. Boom boom boom. Raditz's body was smashed to the ground by Sun Wukong, and he sprinted all the way, overturning many stones. Pat. The cracking sound of the joints all over the body. The prince stepped on the body of Raditz, who was sprinting over, and slammed it hard, and immediately smashed the joints of his whole body. Haha, it's not your Kakarot's turn to teach me a lesson. I saw that the prince raised Raditz's body with one foot and threw it directly into the sky, with his fingertips pointing upwards, seeing that a laser was about to hit the latter. Puff puff. A black light curtain opened in the void, revealing an oval hole. Huh, why is it another demon breath? It's the life of a bug. The god of destruction, who was lying in the tent in the distance, frowned, stared at the sudden hole, and said silently. A person's upper body protruded out of the hole, caught Raditz's body thrown from the sky, and laughed. Ha ha ha, hiding on the earth, you can really catch treasure. In this remote corner, you can actually pick up the ancestral Saku demon, still such a pure villain. Lousy Daprazenhi mother was angry, was oppressed by the demon king god, and it turned out that it was the inexplicably missing Dapra who had appeared. He had been dormant on the remote earth in order to avoid pursuit and killing. As soon as he finished speaking, he was horrified to see the god of destruction staring at him fiercely. Go away. I don't want to worry about you now. Don't disturb my interest in watching the play. The god of destruction sent a sound transmission directly into Dapora's mind. Okay, god of destruction, the kid will go now. Whoosh. Dapra escaped into the black hole and disappeared instantly with Raditz. The prince stared at Dapra with deep eyes and disappeared. He felt that the devilish breath on the latter's body was very familiar. Then he shook his head and focused on the Monkey King in front of him, and said slowly. Hee, your Bardock family has a good foundation, and you have created 3 inferior warriors one after another, growing to the level of elite warriors. However, I will let you understand that the so-called background and hard work will never be equal to being a Saiyan. My amazing talent of the prince. Whoosh. An afterburner shot at Sun Wukong, who was blazing with red light all over his body. Sun Wukong tapped his toes and flashed lightly. I didn't expect that I still couldn't beat the prince with 10 times the king's fist. He is really powerful. I thought I was the only one who could reach this point, hee. It seems that there are Lord God of Destruction and Lord Weiss. Still there are a lot of people who are better than me. You and I, let's fight with all our strength. It's boring to be like a mother-in-law again. The prince stood still on a mountain peak, and his body was covered in demonic flames, like a huge demon opening his bloody mouth and devouring people. Yeah, you said my lines. I also want to see the prince, how powerful you can be. Sun Wukong also stood on a mountain, facing the prince. Suddenly, the two of them burst into arrogance, crushing the peaks under their feet. Two arrogant flames flew straight into the sky, red and black, entangled with each other. Master God of Destruction, the whetstone you chose for Sun Wukong has finally appeared. Weiss covered his mouth and laughed softly. Che, I'm just bored, I want to see the world. After I come, will it become more interesting? Asterisk. Chapter 140-Monkey King vs. Vegeta. The God of Destruction sat on the reclining chair and shook his body, the voice in his mouth spread far and wide. Not bad, actually able to catch up with my combat power. The prince looked at Sun Wukong on the opposite side with a relaxed face, and his heart was already fluctuating and uneasy. It must be known that he and Raditz had grown to this point after a series of hard battles with the Demon Star, and finally relied on the demon bloodline, ancestral transformation. Increased combat effectiveness. Otherwise, it is absolutely impossible for his combat power to reach the current 72 million, because the prince has clearly felt that after his combat power exceeded 50 million, the Saiyans were once blessed with a talent that other races envied. Dying and resurrecting can double the combat power. Features are completely useless, he asked Raditz. Although the other party was more than 10 million less powerful than him in combat power, he could clearly feel that the next few hard fights had healed, and the combat power had not increased significantly, but after the two completed the demon bloodline ancestralization, only a few million combat power was slightly longer. Therefore, the prince was surprised that Sun Wukong could surpass the demonized Raditz and approach him on a peaceful earth. Could it be that he is the legendary Super Saiyan? Impossible. The legendary Super Saiyan can only be Lao Su, the Saiyan prince, the top elite warrior of the whole family. The prince put aside the distracting thoughts in his heart, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and continued to stare at Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong didn't know what the prince was thinking, but he also sighed at the prince's strength. Although the devilish energy he carried was annoying, he couldn't deny the prince's strength. Even now he has used the limit 12 times the World King Fist, and he is still at a disadvantage. Boom. The mountain at the foot of Sun Wukong and the prince was completely cracked. Suddenly, the two of them pointed their toes, jumped into the sky, and fought together. God of Destruction, these two Saiyans seem to be slowly approaching the physical limit of Saiyans. It seems that they will soon become Super Saiyans like Little Sasa. It's a pity, these two fellows, the breath is too strong. The eyes of the God of Destruction are really worrying. Vizinu pursed his lips and looked angrily at the prince and Sun Wukong who were fighting in the air. Didn't you always be called Florence, Little French? Ho 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 ho, God of Destruction, I really care about the Loon family. The Loon family's heart skips a beat. Isn't the Loon family tired of being called Xiaofu, and it's a little new to change the name? Cut, it's not because Florence is not around, I want to change a pet. The God of Destruction put a dog's tail grass in his mouth, rolled his eyes, seemed to think of something, and said to Weiss. Come on, let's see how the other real Super Saiyan is doing now. Huh, God of Destruction, referring to the legendary Super Saiyan like Little Sasa, Brawly. Then here, isn't the God of Destruction not watching? Sorry, let's go. Whoosh. The two disappeared, leaving only a tent left alone. Not far from the tent, lay the corpses of Tianjin rice, dumplings, and drinking tea. And Pool, Son Gohan, and Krillin, who were guarding their corpses and hiding on the side. There is also an old man who is unconscious and does not know whether to live or die. And high in the sky, the prince and Sun Wukong are still in fierce competition. Damn, as an elite warrior, I can't help a low-level warrior Kakarot. The prince was blasted away by Kakrat's fists and kicks, and flashed to the top of a mountain, gasping for breath. Sudden. A loud roar sounded from below. It turned out to be the turtle immortal who had just woken up and turned around. When he opened his eyes, he saw the devastated land, and then swept over the bodies of Tianjin rice, dumplings, and drinking tea, and suddenly his heart sank. Then he heard the sound of fighting in the air, and looked along, and found that the prince, who was covered in black magic flames, had fought with Sun Wukong for a round, and then stood there gasping for breath. So, he made up his mind, thinking that the death of Tianjin rice, dumplings, and Yucha was caused by the prince who returned to Earth. Immediately, Immortal Turtle's body swelled, his body swelled suddenly, and he turned into a super-sized old Schwarzenegger. In addition, all the potential that was stimulated by swallowing the super divine water just poured out in an instant. Turtle. Pie. Gas. Gong. Wave. Boom boom boom. The huge and violent turtle-style Qigong wave rushed in front of the prince who had just rested for a while. The prince tapped his toes on the ground and stepped on the air, only to find that the mountain under his feet had been broken by the aura of the turtle school Qigong before it even hit. In an instant. The foot stagnates, the body stops empty. Boom. Immediately, he was hit by the Super Saiyan of Turtle Immortal. The clouds filled the air, and the prince disappeared. Yeah. The Turtle Immortal's body retracted back to its original form, and grinned triumphantly at Kling, Sun Gohan and the others in the distance. Grandpa, you are still so powerful. Sun Wukong stood on the mountain peak and waved at the turtle fairy. Ha ha, a bunch of scumbags dared to hurt this prince, making this prince so embarrassed. A vicious voice came from the air. It was the prince who was seriously injured and not dead. I saw that his armor was shattered all over his body, and drops of blood dripped from the sky and fell to the ground. The monstrous demonic flames on his body danced incessantly, whizzing through the wind, as if his fingers were scratching glass. I can't spare you. All of a sudden, the prince's whole body of demonic flames overflowed with a bang, like a big balloon filled with black ink being smashed, bursting out the demonic flames all over the sky. Then, with a swish, the whole body of magic flame disappeared in the blink of an eye, and slowly retracted into the prince's body. On the other hand, the prince's eyes were pitch black, he could not see the slightest pupil, the veins appeared on his body, and he fell into a state of rage. Are you going to become a gorilla again? Today's Sun Wukong is no stranger to Saiyan's giant ape transformation. When he saw the state of the prince, he immediately thought that he was going to giant ape again, but he wondered that there was no moon and artificial bruise light at this time. Huh, gorilla. It is impossible to become a gorilla again in this life. Because, I know the more powerful demon, ancestral transformation. The prince used the last bit of sanity to read in his mouth, and then let go of his body completely and handed it over to the willful growth of the devil in his heart, and let it do its best. No, such a strong evil atmosphere. This is not a giant ape. After realizing it, Sun Wukong realized at this time that the prince was not a giant ape. Grandpa, buy me some time. I'm going to make more moves. Turtle Immortal was hurriedly shouting at Kaylin, Sun Wufan and the others in a low voice. Get down, pretend to be dead, that Saiyan's eyes are white, and he will definitely not see us. After he finished speaking, he immediately stuck to the grass, not daring to breathe.